Yeah, breaking news. Unc is
Uh,
gone from ESPN. If only Unc would have said no, 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 but his body said yes, 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 yes. Come on, Unc. You know, and I know you better than this. All this and more on Another Mother. And wow, just almost hit the intro early, but all this on Another Mother, episode 16.
yep.
When I fly into the sea, somebody finding their seats. What do they say? When I fly
Hey.
into the sea, somebody finding their seats. What do they say? Hey, would you like coffee, tea, or me? 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 Get up and do the dance with me.
Early morning, late night.
All right, that's all y'all get. Okay,
Yeah.
I said that's
That's
all
all
you
you
get.
get. That's all you
Okay,
get. That's all you get, you mother suckers. That's all you
coffee,
get.
coffee, tea, or me is streaming right now on all platforms. Even Deezer has picked it up this week, featuring Ant Weezy and
Yeah.
Wow and myself. Lisa Renee picked that up. That will be a part of the soundtrack of my one-woman show featuring Ant Weezy and so many talented actors in Las Vegas, July 26th. It will be a full soundtrack you will be able to purchase, whether you show up at the show or if you're live stream. But pick up Coffee Tea or Me right now. But right now, y'all, get your coffee, get your tea, get your lime.
Love
My name is Lisa Renee, and this is my co-host.
the big black Ant Wild. Ant Weezy.
And we are Another Mother.
Hey.
Hey, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh, don't forget, guys, please
Yes.
like. We are starting out Another Mother as a new show, and so the likes really help us to keep people coming and coming and coming. Also, subscribe if you have not subscribed. Share
Word.
this content if you feel that it will be helpful to one another. And listen, comment. We really appreciate it. So let's get right into it. We know, guys, everybody's been talking all week about Shannon. If you guys have not seen it, an announcement has been made. And let me get that announcement because I personally have it. It just broke. Shannon Sharp is stepping down from ESPN amid sexual assault civil suit case. Um, Woo, woo. Where do we? Okay. Oh, let me read this. Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharp is stepping away from his post at ESPN after being sued for alleged sexual assault and battery in Nevada. He announced Thursday afternoon. The relationship in question was 100% consensual, Sharp said in a social media statement. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. Coming from a leadership standpoint, he can say that all he wants. But somebody had a conversation with him and said, we can do it this way, or you can
Oh,
do it that way.
for sure.
Which way do you want to go?
1000.
Shannon said,
1000.
I will do it my way.
1000%.
Okay. Shannon said, y'all not about to hurt my ego and pride no more. No, I will do it one way. There's so much that Aunt Wow and I have to say. So to be fair to both of us, we're gonna just do one point at a time. I'm gonna have a point. Aunt Wow's gonna have a point. I'm gonna have a point because there's just so much, and it's important that we, as business partner, gives everyone the platform to fairly say what they have to say. And this is such a big topic for both of us. And so we both are gonna take one point each in this situation. So since I kicked it off already, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the torch to Aunt Wow to give his first point, and he'll pass the baton back to me.
I'm gonna do my best I can with this 1 point stuff.
Excuse me,
Um,
eating too, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so hungry. I said so hot. I'll explain why girl just eating on fumes. Oh, me, I'm so hungry. I say I'm so hungry. I say I'm so hungry. I say I'm so hungry. Oh, did I just snort?
you did. You did. You did. You did. You sounded like a black white girl for real. You did everything. You sounded
Don't
like oh.
listen. Okay? Hush your mouth.
You sound like a black white girl.
They're a black white girl now. Then you starting that Shannon Sharp stuff. You starting that Shannon Sharp. That's what got y'all in trouble.
Oh
That's why y'all
man,
in trouble now. Put
Shannon.
up with some black white girls.
Oh, Shannon.
Mhm.
Man, you know what? Damn, bro. Oh, Shannon.
I know.
And here's the thing. The only thing, honestly, what this all may turn out to be, what this all may turn out to be, is Shannon made a bad decision on who he decided to get freaky with. He probably didn't do anything wrong. Here's what I mean. And again, I'm gonna try and keep this at one point, but every point of mine is probably gonna revolve around this. Me and Lisa have had conversations for years about this topic, especially when it comes to brothers, because you're just polarized in a different day. Shannon is a big, hey, listen, you see Big Black and Wild, Shannon Sharp, he from Georgia. Some type of way, my dad was from Georgia. You know what I mean? Some type of way, there's probably some blood, like, like I get that. Like you representing because you are the extreme and you representing. Like you out here, it was good for us. And for a lot of people who may not even realize this, it was really good for the sake of the balance and power with respect to important media figures that Shannon Sharp was doing his thing. It was big. It's big. Like it's big. There's a lot of identity when it comes to the perception of a black man that gets missed if Shannon isn't a focal figure, whether you agree with him or not. And that's real spit when it comes to the professional world, athletics, dealing with the celebrity, dealing with the stardom, being reflective, honest, genuine, all that kind of stuff. Mixing personality in there. His Lakers in 5 just went. Hey man, that's one of the best clips I've ever seen, man. I was telling Twan, my boy, I was telling him, like, he was like, "Oh, you ain't seen that?" I was like, "Dude, the last week I've been Lakers in 5." I mean, he been on that. Like, hey, that's just went viral. Like you on top, like Lakers. That's genius. And so that'll be my first point because I can feel myself going on. But the first point is it's very likely he just made a mistake in who he decided to get real freaky with. That would be my first one.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think he made a mistake. Okay. Okay. I mean, did y'all not learn? I say, did y'all not learn from Tiger Woods? It was a freaking mistake. Okay, I think he did exactly what he wanted to do. He saw some bum buns
For
at the
sure.
gym, and he said, "I want you." I said, "I want you, them buns." Okay, so I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And my point is going to be this. Just because I've seen some of the comments, and so I want to talk to Black women for a minute. This ain't our battle. Okay. This ain't our battle. We're going to need to let go of that interracial thing. Who gives a rat's? Let them love who they want to love. We done told them, we done told them, we done told them, we done told them over the years. I don't know how many times this type of situation has come into play, and some Black men just haven't learned. Interracial dating, guys, we got to let that go, Black women. We got to let that go. It's not a personal slap against you, okay? Mm-hmm. Black men are not dating these white women because it's got something to do with you. They are not trying to make you feel this type of way. But sometimes, let me tell you what it is, okay? They choose the young and foolish, okay? And one thing a lot of Black women are, we ain't foolish, okay? You try to come with us with the dumb, and we gonna knock you out back with the dumb. Not physically, but with our words, like, nah, bruh, no, you're not touching the back door, okay? We're not doing that, okay? Go on over there and ask Karen to do that. We're not going to do that. So I would encourage all Black women, let's stop calling the race thing. There is beauty in white, Black, Chinese, Indian. All of us have beauty. And if you find love in another race, so God be it. But this is bigger than race, guys. And let me get to my point so I can pass it on. Excuse, ooh, y'all, see, that's why you should eat on your show. Freaking cucumber that came up, excuse me. What this is really about, this is my first point, is age. And I know y'all gonna be like, Lisa, but she legal. Come on now. Come on now. You know, at 19, our brain is not fully developed like our 35 and over brain. So I feel like Black women, let's focus more on that more than the interracial thing. Because at the end of the day, if people keep wanting to make these non-power moves from a powerful person, because he is extremely powerful. And I mean that in awe because I think many of us have looked up to Shannon. We have love for Shannon. To be 100,
Hey, listen.
we have love for Shannon. But at the end of the day, Monique said what she said. And I feel like she was many times, guys, on your path, you are given wisdom from somebody. It's biblical. Somebody will give you wisdom on a situation. It is up to you if you take that wisdom. And Monique was sent there to share that wisdom with me. She called out the age. Have you heard her? She said 26. So I figured Monique knew something, guys, that maybe we didn't know. Now, I disagree with Monique talking about him getting a fat woman. And the only reason why I would say that, because I don't care if the girl is fat. Shannon Sharp has always been together. He don't want to get with no fat woman. Let's just be 100. That's the only thing I disagree with Monique. Get you a physically fit woman, Shannon, like what you like, and get with a woman that has the substance that you bring to the table. But it's not about race, Black women. It's about that age. And that's what we should really be looking at. And again, let me say this again, because I don't want people to go. I know she is of age. But we also know if you go into your 19-year-old brain, you can be manipulated and persuaded in a lot of different ways. And I meant this, and I'm going to say this again. It's the last thing I'm going to say before I pass it over to Aunt Weezy. Unk. Going back to Monique. The one thing about Black women, and that's probably why some Black women are really heated, because we love you guys to the core. We love you in such a deep way that nobody can ever understand it because we are cut from the same cloth as you. And what I mean by that, not environmental, Black. And it doesn't matter who you date. At the end of the day, you are still Black, and Black women know that. And so when Monique was saying that, it is from deep love because we love you, we support you, we champion you, we want you to win. And we are disappointed because there's so many beautiful women, whether they're white, Black, Asian, or whatever, around your age that you could have went out with. But instead, you went low. You went low. I'm going to say it again. You are better than this unk. Go, Aunt Weezy.
So I knew I should have took more time on my first point. Everything you said was valid and all that. But
It's so much. It's hard.
but that's what I'm saying though, because I don't well, here's what I meant. Because everything that I was saying was there's a deeper, you know me, there's layers to it's not just about he messed with the wrong person. Age does have something to do with it. So does the race. Let's keep it a thou. Let's keep it a thou. Let's just keep it a thou. That's actually my point. And when I say he made a bad mistake, and what I mean by that is this. In that position, you're a man, you're single, you have grown kids, you have grown Black kids. His kids are Black. His daughter is, I know his oldest daughter is beautiful, beautiful Black girl. His kids are Black. He has Black kids. He is done more than show I'm about this life. Now, in my evolution from that, I might not, I might go another route when I choose to get mines off. Let's just keep it a buck. He might go another route, but he was with this chick, but he was also what's her name? What's the light-skinned girl named Eddie Murphy's ex-wife? Nicole Murphy?
Mm-hmm.
They had something going on. She's
Mm-hmm.
every bit his age. She might be older than this cat. They are every bit the same age. So now let's go to the decision of that. So now you are, and then the other little chick he was with, that was
Right.
a Caucasian sister. She
Michelle.
was an older chick. She wasn't a young chick. She
Mm.
may not have been 50,
Right.
but she was plenty 30, 31, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken. She was a old, you feel what I'm saying? And he was getting the flack. So now what happens is this is where the bad decision comes in. Because now knowing that, now I can completely get on your align with your when you say Unc, come on, because I have to get that context as a brother, as a man, as all the things. He just made a mistake in who he decided to get freaky with. That's why I said that, because it wouldn't matter if he was getting flack anyway. So he obviously, Monique did say something about the young girls, but she was also talking about the fact that the girls weren't sisters. Let's keep it a buck. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know
Right.
me, I'm a brother who likes sisters.
Right.
So if whenever I hear brothers that, always talk a certain way about sisters, I don't really jive with it because I'm a cat that likes sisters. And
Right.
it's deeper than just me liking sisters on the pro-black tip. Obviously, that's the case.
Right.
But as somebody who's attracted to people, that gets my motor going, when I see somebody and they're attractive to me and all these kinds of things, more often than not, she's a sister.
Right.
Those are the things I like. She got the features I like. She got the nose, call it what
Right.
you want, the end nose, the cheekbones,
Right.
all the things, all the Wakanda things and glory and spit, and you are the strongest woman on earth and all the things.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I also understand that not everybody is as lucky as I have been to be exposed to the women I've been exposed to for me to have this unconditional love for y'all. Not
Mm.
everybody has that. Not everybody's been fortunate enough to have that.
Mm.
And that's a very polarizing thing in our relationships with each other. Because then it's, well, I don't understand. You going to do this X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yo, see, a lot of times I could just go there and I can kind of be me. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And they ain't really tripping. They want all this stuff. When I had hair and braids, when I cut the hair off, the braids, and you know how I looked with I
Mhm.
was the braids. I rocked them. I was the big
Yeah.
black cat with the braids. My braids be clean. I'm coming through there, but I'm looking a certain way. Big black dude with braids.
Right.
When I cut my braids, all the sisters, ooh, yeah, he cute,
Exactly.
which I was. So I mean, not to sound like that. I'm just saying, when I got the fade, when I looked in the mirror, I was like, ooh, that's clean. But you know who was mad? The others, my snow bunnies, my Mexicanos, all the other women I knew, they were like, oh, you look cute and everything, but ooh, I like the braids. Like, they liked that side of me. They liked you know what I'm saying? The sisters, it's just like brothers that want girls that
Mhm.
say, oh, girl, you need to go get a perm, as opposed to a brother that like, nah, when you have that good natural mane and you got that good hair,
Yeah.
girl, you sexy. A lot of cats want you to get the perm. It's the same kind of thing,
Mm,
right?
interesting.
So in that right now, so now that we're there, because we gotta put it on some everyday stuff. At the end of the day, everybody human, X, Y, and Z. So now he with this chick. I would like to think, and again, this is me being benefit of doubt, but I would give this benefit of doubt to anybody, especially on some man tip. It
Mhm.
just happens to be this is a brother, so now I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on some brother stuff. But we can get in any situation, I might give anybody the benefit of the doubt. But since he's a brother and happens to represent what I'm talking about on the
Mhm.
brother tip, now you going over here and you messing with this chick. And hey, look, she said she about that life, whatever you about in the thing. When you close your doors, you like them a little more, and quite honestly, what you said, which was funny but true, hey, you said it earlier. You said, "Oh, we ain't doing all that. Go over there to do all that." And sometimes cats go, "All right, well shit, they ain't doing all that. So I'm gonna go over here."
Right, right.
Straight up. Now you can't
This
be
is
mad
why I
at the
said
brother
it,
when
because
he
I
go over
know.
there. You
Church
can't
girl
say,
Beyonce talked about it. Like, I mean, I know how we were raised. I
hey,
ain't doing
hey,
that.
listen, go over there. Okay, cool. But then don't get mad when the brother go over there. He go, okay, I'm gonna go over there. I
Right,
can't do this with
right.
you, X, Y, and Z. Where the mistake is on some come on unk is like it or not. I know you're able to be in the room with all these other men. I know you have the benefits that rare men have, both white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, anybody you want to put throwing in there. You had access to the world and still do until proven guilty, hopefully. But this is my point. You had access to the world in ways that most people don't. 98% of the people who ever lived do not. So now, because you're in these room with them, sometimes correct me if I'm wrong, whoever, Shannon or anybody would want to get on, but sometimes when you're in the room with them and you're above a lot of the people you're in the room with, you may feel like you can get the same benefits as them by making a bad mistake. And you can't, if that makes sense, right? You don't have the same, you're not allotted the same, you, if you're not going to be allotted the same thing. And then, oh boy, who picked up the case, the cat who's just out here getting a bag, what's his name? Because he's just
Tony
picking up all the
Bugsy.
cases.
That's Tony
Whether they're
Bugsy.
fluffy, with the
Yeah.
LeBron case we talked about last week, he's picking them up. So
Mm-hmm.
now look at the scene. Now they just coming to get some money from you, right? But you have to be smart enough to know to be able to. We've talked about it all the times, and I'm gonna wrap it up with this. But we talk about it. You have to know where you can go. So that's where I'm on some come on off with you. Like, come on, dog. He didn't, because this is what I'm saying. If it's consensual and all this thing, that what he did was make a mistake and choose somebody who tried to get a bag off of him. Because it doesn't matter how much he's exonerated, this now is attached to you in a way that's just not going to be attached to everybody else. There's somebody who is over everything now, gets away with everything. You're not, because you're able to be in the room with a lot of these same kind of cats, you're not going to be given that benefit of the doubt. So in that, come on, Unc, you just got to make better decisions. I don't even know if you did anything wrong, but now because of the decision and it's wrong, right or wrong, this is what it is. And that's what I say. So when I said he made the wrong decision, I was talking on that tip, like on some, because he could just be out there. He found him a young girl. Hey, look, y'all, we just got to be real out here, man. You know, if you a 55, 56-year-old man in Shannon's position and you got a young hot thing coming at you, I hear y'all. You know what I'm saying? I hear y'all talking like, oh, man, you need to come get somebody older, X, Y, and Z. If she of age and you out here and she on you, hey, man, if you decide now, me personally, I don't know if I have the tolerance a lot of times because I just don't know if we'll have anything in common. I'm not into none of the F stuff. So I can't come in here talking about no F stuff. And I'm not doing no minstrel show as an old, as an older cat trying to get your attention and doing all this. So I'm not doing all that. So I'm just coming like me. You just might not get me. That's where the age thing really don't work for me. I'm going to need somebody who's probably a little more older in the game. Even if you ain't pushing 30 or so, you have to see around to get around different kind of people to realize, oh, okay, I see where this is cat coming from. So for me, I'm not really that interested in the youngers because of that. I don't know if I have the tolerance to deal with y'all, but let's just keep it a thou wow. And he got caught up. He made a wrong, unfortunate decision. He probably shouldn't have been messing with her. 19, she is legal, all the things. Should he have been messing with her? Probably not. Just keep it a buck. But he was. Now he has this attached to him, and now occupying the space in the world you do, because at the end of the day, this is it. They can't. You can't get. You're not going to be able to get away with it. You're not. Like, and you didn't even. You may not have done nothing wrong. What I mean by that is that's why it's imperative. Me and Lisa have had this conversation for years. When the NFL came up with the thing where they came like down on domestic violence, that was one of the times where I was like, okay, cool. And the normal people would be like, nah, man, they singling out the brothers. Yeah, they are singling out the brothers. I do understand that. I understand it as a result. But the reality of it is the league is 75, 80% black. And a lot of the cases, even though there's 3,000 of you, there's one or two bad apples, and it paints a bad picture on the rest of you. I get it. But the reality of it is a lot of times them bad apples are the ones help paint the picture because you may be choosing from here. you know, not here or here. Now, it doesn't mean you don't want somebody who occupies here and here to stimulate it. Listen, that's why I'm bringing the physicality into the game. It doesn't mean that at all. But you need to be careful in who you choose and that are going to put you in spaces that are going to make you react in a way to where they're going to be calling the police on you. You just have to be, we just have to be more careful in that. Hey man, go do your thing. Go get your bag in every single way. Go get your money. Go get the girl. Hey, hey, listen, as a man who loves women, I understand. But I'm saying there's gotta be some sort of, there has to be some baseline. There has to be some baseline. Because guess what? There are plenty of beautiful women who occupy this baseline, and there's a lot less drama. And money does not fix the drama. And there's that.
So I put on mute because this is such a deep topic, and I know that we would be chiming in over each other. So I just put on my mute so that way y'all
Oh,
didn't hear me and I didn't interrupt his discussion at all. I
that's a good
want
idea, actually. I'm
it
stealing that.
is. It kind of protects you, the other person. You can see you nodding, but they can't hear it, so it doesn't
Word up.
interrupt.
Word up. It's a good
But
one.
let's talk about the audio. Yeah. So I talked about the age thing, right? Again, I know she's older, but we also know that you don't learn a lot of stuff until you get older. And the one thing I always try to do with my son is go, Lisa, remember your age. So, yeah, you
Hmm.
can give him wisdom at your age now, but also remember your age at that time and try to come from that place and blend your place now so that it's realistic for your child. You know, if I just speak from this area, you know what I'm saying? They don't resonate. But when I say, baby, I was that age, I get it. You want to go out, you want to date, you want to do this, you want to blah, 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 blah. I get it. Here's two situations from it. And that's why I want to talk about the age. But when you hear the audio, not only does the picture, and I think I have, let me see if I can find, I think I have a picture of her. Not only does she, excuse me, sound young, but can y'all see that?
We see Lisa Renee has started sharing, but then we see blackness. Oh, there she is. Okay,
There
that's
she is.
her.
Yeah, this is her. And because her name is Zuniga, I know people are saying she's white, but I can tell you there is some Latin background, you know, especially if her name is Gabriela Zuniga. There is some Latin probably in there. She might be mixed with Caucasian, but Gabriela Zuniga is normally a Latin name. I've been hearing a lot of people say white. They don't know what that is. I can tell you it is Latin. Okay. And she has this persona as Carly on social media. She has an OnlyFans channel. And so I do agree with Aunt Wow when he says he probably picked the wrong thing, right? But when you hear the audio, it it's a little disappointing,
Oh no,
right?
for
I
sure.
am going to you, right? Because I ain't trying to mess without money monetization. I am going to do this. And it sounds like I still think it was a little aggressive coming from him. And I feel like he's so smart, but sometimes the head down below, men sometimes lose the head upstairs because anybody with eyes can see that she was setting them up.
That that
Where do
that
we go?
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Right?
saying.
Right? I mean, anybody, I mean,
It's
I'm
deeper than
thinking,
rap, man. It's deeper than rap,
yeah,
man.
he must have really had a
It's
trust
deeper than
issue.
rap.
And the thing about it, what I would tell brothers, when it walks and quack like a duck, remember that old saying, it's a duck. Remember Shannon said on the audio, you know, you had already done something to me. I should do this based on what you did. So Shannon, you already knew she showed you who she was. She showed you who she was. We got to believe people. Stop giving people second, third, and fourth, and fifth, and seventh, and eighth. When they show you who they are, leave them alone. Leave them alone. There's a lot of 19-year-olds been like, I wish it was me, because Shannon, I wouldn't say a thing. And that's where Ant Wild is going. You could have did the same thing. And we would never know about it. So your
Come on,
decision
man.
making, I agree, is off. But those audios, those
Yeah.
audios are
And
they, they sound they. And then you read some of the wording. If you look at the paperwork, so take the paperwork and the audio, it just doesn't look good, y'all. And how many? Let's just name how many crazy things we've been hearing about brothers this year. Cat started it off telling us. We got Diddy. We got Jay-Z. And I got to get you correct on this. I know you like Tony trying to take Jay-Z down. That's a whole different situation. When you did that audio and that audio got leaked, there was no audio that got leaked about Jay-Z. We cannot even compare your situation with Jay-Z. It is complete. Only different is y'all both got accused of something, true, by Tony Busby, true. But you and P. Diddy, y'all gave some evidence.
yeah.
Y'all gave him some evidence to rock with now. And not only that, Shannon, come on. Let's talk about the leak audio. I'm all on audio on my point right now. Let's talk about the leak earlier this year, right? Of you leaking with you and Michelle. Yeah, you too big for this. Now, I don't know if it was a setup, but it seemed like it was, because everybody was questioning you in Hollywood. Oh, did we forget about that? They was questioning you and the guy that we saw sitting down together. I could care Rex, whatever. Because even if you were in that lifestyle, I wish, if you are, or you go both ways, I wish the world would make it comfortable for you to be yourself, if that's true. But I'm just saying, you've had a lot. You did so well with Cat. You made so much money. You were just about to sign this deal. And Tony could have said whatever he want, but that audio, we heard you say you would. We heard you be kind of, aggressive with her. We heard it. She set you up. We know it. Okay? She set you up. It is clear. All of us are in agreement with that. We can tell this chick set you up. Brothers, pick better. Better yet, let's use the wisdom from Proverbs. See, y'all ain't gonna like that, but I'm about to go there as I end my last point. Y'all call Russell weak, okay? He's a little weak. He this and that. You know what Russell is? He's Aunt Weezy. He's my boyfriend Julian. And he's a lot of my friends out here. If you watching it, Angelo, HB, I can go all day on the amazing men. My ex-stepfather, Frederick. These men are authentic. When they get in relationships, they stay there, they land. Y'all can call them a punk. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. My friend Jimmy Kendrick. These are men. They are honest men. My boy Paul, the videographer. These are honest men. They're not out here for no games. And because they are honest men and they get into these type of relationships, they don't have this type of bull mess. There is a reason why they say get in a relationship in certain situations, because it will protect you. Because if she's a good woman, she's going to have your back. She's going to have your back. And I'm going to end on this because I'm going to toss this to you. And Kevin, did he really make that comment about LeBron? Like, black men, come on now. Y'all,
What? I missed that one. What was that?
Y'all are fouling a lot of balls. I'm gonna pull it up.
Oh,
He made a
y'all are
comment about
fouling a lot of
LeBron's.
balls.
Y'all are
Y'all
fouling
are
a lot of
fouling a
balls.
lot of balls.
He called out
Pause.
LeBron's. The reason why I want to bring this up, because it ties into this, and let me tie it into this, and I'm gonna pass the baton. He talked about LeBron's wife never smiling or anything like that.
Kevin Samuel.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Now go.
Kevin,
I know what you're talking about now. Go with your point.
you know
I
what
want
I'm
to hear what
talking
you have
about?
to
I
say.
thought it was Kevin Gates or something. Anyway, he made this.
Kevin Gates. I'm sorry,
Yes,
Kevin Gates. My
okay.
bad. My bad.
And he was talking about, the white woman, da 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 da. I'm like,
Yeah.
look at this puppet dance. And I love you, Kevin. Like, you love LeBron. We've got love for you, but do you not get what you're doing?
Yeah.
We got this one black woman that's been holding LeBron down. You don't even understand what Savannah has probably had to deal with behind closed doors. You think
1,000%.
it's easy? You think
1,000.
it's easy being married to a person in that type of position with women
Word.
just probably setting them up all type of ways? The
Word.
phone calls, the texts, the things happen to her children. Do you think it's easy playing that role? So if she wants to not smile for one goddamn day, give her
Yeah.
grace. Why do we always got to look at the bad point of a black woman?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
This is one black woman that we see an example of that is doing so well as a wife. She has held this man down. He would not be who he was if it was not for her. That's what you don't understand. And you sitting here dating, and I don't want to talk about Brittany because Brittany did change her life over. And I think it's because of you now. She's a Muslim, but we know her background. Why don't you spend the energy and time looking at her background before you want to talk about Savannah? And I applaud Brittany for what she changed, but we put so much energy putting other people down versus lifting people up. And you don't understand that that comment you made is so way back. If
Yeah.
that ain't the Willie Lynch syndrome, I don't know what is. Can we stop? Look what happened to Shannon. Having that smiley white woman so happy with him coming off the football field. This is what happens like when those things happen. But my God, if a woman is not always smiling, maybe there's something going on. Could she be sick that day? Could her parents have something going? You don't know. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover. But you are clearly the example of why Shannon and so many of our brothers are doing what they're doing because you keep praising a race over another race. There's no better. We're all the human race at the end of the day. We're all a human race at the end of the day. Learn the lesson from Shannon, from Tiger, from P. Diddy. We're the black girls that you know what I'm saying? There's so many on P. Diddy. I can't even, y'all want to call Cassie black, but is she really? Because I thought Cassie was Latin. Gabriela Zuniga.
I think she's an Afro-Latina.
Yes. And that is a difference. That is a difference. And I don't disagree. I don't care one way or another. What I'm saying is, please stop positioning yourselves and stop living in the past of what you think black women are. Deal with the trauma that you have, just like Shannon needs to deal with the trauma that he has. That audio said a lot. It said a lot. And I'm going to save what I want to say to my next point. And Kevin, I don't mean to be so heated, but you don't understand. When you make comments like that, you are continuing to tear us down. You're tearing us down. How much more do we got to carry? And you also are showing the mentality of too many black men. And because of that mentality, he just blew a check. Just blew a check because it is. And he shouldn't have to blow a check. That man was an amazing athlete. And because of his, Ant Wild said it, decisions, he just sat there and blew a check. And caused embarrassment on the black women that raised him and helped him probably get to where he was.
Facts. Damn.
But the minute that some of y'all get to where y'all are, Kanye, y'all listen, y'all call Kanye, she ain't nothing but a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broker. She get rich and then he get rich and where do he go? He go date a white woman. He didn't say that for no reason.
That's so funny how he prophesized himself.
He sure enough did, and we're gonna talk about him later. We got him on the list too. We're gonna talk about him later. And let me say this. Let me clear this up before I pass the baton.
Yeah, because I
care less
got
about interracial dating. I think it's beautiful to love people from different and come, but you got to be wise in the decisions that you make. And if you date someone strictly because you met, you fell in love, fine. But when you date someone based on past histories and trauma from your mom, and you hate your mom and all of these type of things, you got to get help for that. You got to get help for that because every secret that happens in the dark, it will come to the light, unfortunately. And that's what happened. Those audios told me that Shannon is dealing with some stuff. Y'all can call it kink, whatever you want. I'm going to save that point after Ant Wild while I say he is dealing with some stuff as a certified life coach. As a certified life coach, those two men I just talked about, you guys are dealing with some stuff. This is not about black, white, or whatever. When you continue to tear down the women that helped to raise you, that is some psychological help that you got to get help with. Because if your mother was bad, that's your mother. That's not every black mother. My mother is amazing. It doesn't matter if we do bad or good. My mother stands in truth for her children. Every black woman is not bad. If anything, we will hold you down sometimes when we shouldn't hold your butts down because we love you to the core, because we understand you, whether you know it or not, we understand you better than any other race would. Because we are black women. We deal with it too. We get looked at. We get the racism. We get it. It happens to us too. We get judged. We don't get the positions. We get half of the pay. We get that too as well. So we get it. But instead of tearing us down, we have got to lift everybody up and we got to love one another. If you listen, they said it. If you ain't got nothing to say, this is an old cliche, it's true, then just don't say nothing. Or if you love LeBron that much, Kev, go to Savannah. Why you not smiling? And she probably been like, I'm just having one of those days. That's compassion. That's compassion. We're in too much of this clique. I want to go viral, make a comment, put another brother down in his family when he's the example. Russell is another good example too as well thus far. Let's lift them up and let's learn from them. We can learn from these men. There's something they're doing. Marriage is not easy keeping it together, but these Russell as well as LeBron has. And LeBron's go way back, y'all. That woman done been through some things that none of us can even understand. Let's respect that queen. Please, brother. Please. I'm sorry, Aunt Weezy. I'm done. I might now wait for my next point. How to probably put his point. Well, President, that brought up some more points. All right, I'm going on mute now.
That did, because it led into we were finishing Shannon, but it led into where I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay here. I mean, hey Shannon, I'm rooting for you. We'll still come back to you, but the Kevin Gates. Why I keep saying Kevin Samuels? Kevin Gates.
Because he said the similar things, and that's the sad
He did. I know.
and I don't know if Kevin was trying to feed off of the hype that Kevin got, because I don't know. There was some post about him recently, and I don't know if he was trying to keep that train going. I really don't know. But that's why you're saying that, because that rhetoric was the same.
Yeah, and so bear with me because I'm trying to tell you this. You said a lot, which I mean in an adult way, but I was surprised at the Kevin Gates comment because Kevin is reformed himself behaviorally, right? And I can't remember if there was any drugs in there or anything like that. But Kevin has reformed himself behaviorally, and Kevin has been on interviews, a lot of interviews when he went and did his work and came back. He still said Kevin Gates. He's from Texas. He's still, ain't nothing to be played with and all that kind of stuff. But they'll show old interview clips, and he's been one of the things that I came to like about him actually is that he'll look at a lot of them old interview clips and he'll be like, dude, I can't stand that. I couldn't stand who that person was. And he'd been able to touch on where he was at and why he was feeling that way and X, Y, and Z. And that's commendable, especially as us, especially not only as us, it's commendable for everybody, but the guys, it is what it is. Being a certain hue, the rules are different. And that's just that. It's not even really on I don't even got to say it with a whole bunch of anger or nothing. It's just the rules are different. I play my game in a certain way because I understand the rules are different. I'm going to be myself playing it, but I understand the rules are different, which is why we have to make better decisions, Shannon. It's literally because of that, right? So in the Kevin Gates comment, I was surprised because in that, was it Whitney? Is that his wife's name?
Brittany.
Brittany.
Yeah, is it Brittany Renner? I think she was really out there, but then she kind of transformed her life around too, which is why I get them being together. I get it. So I get them being together.
Yeah. like them being together, all the things, right? And when you stick around and that woman sticks around, there's a certain affinity I feel that you'll always have for that woman, right? Especially that's why it's interesting you said, and I'm gonna get to this when you say the women that raised you, right? So it was very interesting to me that he made that comment with the venom he made it in. I will say, first of all, so I agree with everything you said, and I'm going to go back to that. But I do want to touch on this. I think in his heart, he thought he was doing tough love in a way that would, you know, force a reaction like, no, whatever. Maybe he thought he was doing tough love. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think just his whole core about it was evil, which is actually my point. I just think that he thought maybe he was doing this and doing tough love or whatever. But the psyche that your mind goes to carry on that venom when you talk about a woman that is similar to the one that raised you, right? There's a deeper venom there, I feel. I agree with that. That's kind of like what I was saying earlier when I said I am somebody who've always had my affinity for black women, and I was lucky enough to have the women I had. The mom that raised me wasn't out there like that. She didn't have habits. She didn't do all that stuff. She lived a tough life. She grew up in a time where there was no opportunities for not only black folk but for women. She grew up in Texas. You know, my mama wasn't old. My mama wasn't young. You know what I'm saying? When she had me, she was pushing 40 when she had your boy. So like, she came up in a different time. So I understand that that was part of her journey, but also in her journey, she did the best she could for us to have things be a certain way. We never had a whole lot of money, but we had a lot of stability. We knew where our parents were every day. You know what I'm saying? There's not one day in my life where I can say, dang, I didn't talk to my dad or didn't know where my dad was or didn't know where my mom was and or was worried about what they was doing, name all crazy in the streets and all this other kind of stuff. I didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. There was other stuff we had to deal with trauma wise and family wise and just like any family, especially black family. But that part of the game I didn't have to deal with. So now when I look at women, I still have especially black women, I still have a certain innocence about them when I look at them, although I know how we are and how we be. Like I said, me and Lisa have talked about this for years. I've done psychological tests on us. Like, when I went to Sac State and I would be in a class and there'd be like 4 or 5 black people in there, especially if there was women in there. And then I would look at everybody else in the class and everybody else, as the class goes on, they're, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, well, how'd you guys become friends? We met in this class. The girls will look at me and all of a sudden it's got to be this attitude. Either I'm getting at you or I'm not cute enough or I'm not fly enough. That's just something that exists within us, right? And that is what Lisa was talking about, which is what I'm emphasizing. There's there you don't realize people that have platforms, whether you want to take this into account or not, you don't realize how much you're feeding the beast by continuously perpetuating those messages. That's just, it is what it is. You're feeding the beast. It doesn't even mean you can't feel how you feel or whatever. You're just feeding the beast because they're taking all of this information as reinforcement on look how much these group of people don't like each other. Why do you think algorithms, listen, bad news has become news because we've helped in that. Now the world has become a ghetto mess, but we have helped in that because I can go on a timeline now and say something hella crazy and it's going to get all kind of engagement. I go post about the podcast and nobody likes it. I don't even get a like on Facebook. Now they'll tell me they've watched it. Good looking. I appreciate you. But that outward support, no. Let me go post. I could go on right now and say Drake is a jerk. Kanye's a jerk. Kendrick's a jerk. Woo, woo, woo. And man, my thing gonna light up. You know what I'm saying? That is us feeding the beast. See what I'm saying? I understand things are news, but this is how far I take it. This is just me in the mentality thing that Lisa's talking about. I never watched the George Floyd thing. I wasn't going to sit there and watch 8 minutes and 46 seconds of that. Wasn't going to do it. That affects me too much. I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to, I know what happened. I know everything that happened. I personally will take your word for it. I'm not going to do that. Right? Because there's, there's something, look, here's the reality. Hypertension being associated with us more than any group of people in the world? You think we're that terrible of human beings, or do you think that it's designed to be that way? It's just the same way with behavior. It's the same way with behavior. It's the same thing. That whole statement that you went on, and again, I think there was a part of you trying to be on some tough love stuff, like, hey man, because that's kind of what he was saying, like, hey man, the girls be looking at him like this. These white women, man, Savannah need to
Why
be
couldn't
looking
you
at him
just
like
tell
this,
him that privately
huh?
as a friend? Why couldn't you just tell him that though privately?
I
You know
agree
what
with
it
you.
is?
That's my point. I'm not
When you
disagreeing
go
with.
public, it's a whole different
I
ball.
agree. That's my point, actually. And even if you went public, because I can even stay in this realm, because we're actors and we're storytellers. So even on the sake of experimentation, just entertaining the rabbit hole, even if you went public, there was a lot of disdain in that. Like, you could have possibly got your same point across by showing times where she did look like at LeBron like he was a god. And then say, hey, and I don't even know if this is the right way. So let me just say that. But what I'm saying is that's even a different interpretation. Like, hey man, I see Savannah, man. She ain't, hey man, these white girls be on her. X, Y, Z. Look, baby girl, look how you looking at that dude. We all love LeBron. Look, but you get a chance to go home with him every night. Look how you looking at that dude. I know things is hard, girl, but shoot, try and smile more, girl. You with LeBron James, girl. We love, there's a whole different way you can do that and still kind of get your point across. Again, I don't even know if that's the right way, because I agree with you on the public thing. I'm not gonna, if we're talking, I got an opinion about it, that's that. But I don't know if I'm gonna go like make a post like that. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But even if it was in that spirit, there's something different to dissect from it other than what we're talking about. And I think a lot of that time, that protection, I guess, is kind of what you were alluding to. We don't protect each other like that no more. Right? There's a certain level of protection that we don't have when we get on the mic and start talking about each other. It's super greasy. It's super duper like trying to chop the legs out, realizing we're all fighting for the same slot. Don't matter how big or small, right? And there's a certain level of protection. It doesn't mean everything's going to be kumbaya. I understand that. But there's still a certain level of protection that we had. Like even when they was battling back to the days, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier couldn't stand each other, but there was always a level of, yeah, I can't, but you ain't about to be over here talking crazy about Joe though. Now I'll talk crazy about Joe. We'll go over here and do our thing. It's just like the N-word type of stuff, right? We don't protect. There's a lot about our culture we do not protect, and how we interact with each other is one of them. And that's the now when we take that and go to the human side of it, like Lisa was talking about, maybe there's a past trauma that you have that's associated with that, because I do know when people have that trauma, especially with men that have trauma with Black women, there is a reaction that they have towards Black women that is that can be very aggressive, but that in most cases was coming from something else, right? And so we have to be mindful. It doesn't mean everything got to be cool, but like you say, we just got to be mindful of the bubble that we live in, because everybody wants to get inside. And guess what? When they get inside, they poison it, they take it back, and they leave you in the dust. It happens every time. They'll have a new next year. E40, shout out. That's real. They'll have a new one next year.
So true.
It's
I'm sorry, Ace. Go
no,
ahead.
that's it. Roll on.
Here's my last point. I don't know if you guys have saw this, and anybody that is struggling in a relationship right now, it's one of the best counseling DVDs I have ever had. It's called Laugh Your Way to a Happy Marriage. And it's by a comedian, but he's also a pastor. His name is Mark Gungor. And one of the best portions or episode of his show is talking about the PORN. I don't know how they deal with
Mm,
monetization, so I'm just going to write the word out, the
mm,
PORN. And if
mm,
you know from a lot of the court paperwork as well as the audios that we heard, a lot of that talk happens with P, right? We
yeah.
many of us, we didn't all watched it, at some point. A lot of that stuff happens when you watch the P,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mark Gungor comes from an interesting point, and I'm telling you, you guys got to watch. It's very deep, and I'm sure I'm going to do it little justice, but if you watch it, you'll see. And it's a funny counseling. You won't feel any pressure when you watch Laugh Your Way to a Happy Marriage. He goes from the man brain to the woman's brain. It's a very helpful series to watch if you are in a relationship and having a tough time. It will really help you to understand one another. But he has a sex topic. And he talks about how when we start to utilize these videos or do things to ourselves, how it comes like a PTSD in our brain, a stigma. And so anybody you deal with after that, you start comparing because you have these clips that are just happening in your, and it's true. Listen, I'll be the first one. They're very true. It was one of the reasons why I was like, let me pull away. This is
Mm,
very
mm,
true because
mm,
then you start comparing, you see your behavior, wanting to try this and do all these things. You got to ask yourself, is that coming from a demonic place
mm,
or a light, a place of light? Is this something I want to do just with my significant other because we're having fun and we're doing little things, or is it coming? And so he goes so deep to show you, and again, I'm not doing it justice, but he shows you the road of where it will take you to the point that psychologically, some people can't even break it. They
mm,
can't even break it because
mm,
it's so strong. And he talks about how to break that cycle because when you have it, this is why Shannon utilized her. She was really
mm,
used as a pawn, right?
mm,
They really used each other. She was like, I want to get paid. And he used her to just do this crazy stuff that he also developed probably from watching P, right? When we want to just do these type of things to a person and do these type of things to a person, is that coming from, let's listen, is it coming from light or dark? So
mm,
I'm gonna ask Ant Wild some questions. Say light or dark. If you want to put your hands around somebody's neck, is that coming from a light place or a dark place?
that's dark.
Right? If you want to pow someone from behind to where they're crying and stuff, is that coming from light or is that coming from dark?
That part is coming from dark.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a pleasure and then there is just an aggressiveness, and it's a difference between the two. And so this man really breaks it down how it can be so psychologically damaging. And a lot of people have problems in their relationships right now because the damage of watching PORN. It is, and if you have this issue, I would tell you, watch Laugh Your Way to a Happy Marriage because he does give you steps to overcome that. Like any pattern, whether it's alcoholism, obesity, anything can be broken. Anything can be broken so that you can just walk in a more healthier space, especially if you want a new relationship. You almost have to get those things out of your head, those impressions out of your head. And I know, because I was like, I didn't see no issue with it. I was like, what's the big deal? Me and my man watching, what's the big deal? Until I watched Mark Gungor and I saw how damaging that could be. Because see, now we gotta keep upping it. And then what happens when your significant other doesn't want to do that anymore? Then you start attacking them because you're thinking, oh, you don't want to do this. You don't want to. Remember what she said on the call, even though it was a setup, but she said, I don't want to be choked anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. And he even went so far to say, I do it in public. Right. And I know, I listen, many of y'all, let me go here. Many of y'all were like, oh, Lisa, that's how they talk or whatever. I'm not playing those games. What you say, you manifest. You got to be very careful what comes out of your mouth. Sometimes my thoughts might do something. I'd be like, I rebuke that thought. I rebuke that thought because your thoughts can become words and your words can become actions. So you got to be so careful what you say and do. So I'm not talking about that. I don't even play around like, oh, I'm going to KILL you. I don't even want to mess around with those type of things.
Mhm.
I am a crime ID girl. It's dangerous, guys, to say certain words because then you start living those type of words. And then you start plotting on those type of words. So it's important to keep yourself around positive energy, positive people, and stay away from things that you know can cause a trigger of your behavior and put the worst of you. I believe I still got love for Unc. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what y'all say.
Hey, listen, dog.
And I'm gonna tell you why I still got love for Unc. Because Unc is human just like the rest of us. And we've said it on the
yeah,
show every day.
yeah,
Got love for Kevin too, right? At the end of the day, we all make bad decisions. We say things sometimes that we wish we could have take back and say a different way. We're human. And so my
yeah.
prayer goes out to you, Shan. I'm
Really?
disappointed. I'm hurt because
I,
I felt like you would, after that Cat Williams interview, you
yeah,
was
no,
doing your thing, bro.
that hurt. That one hurt
You
for
were doing
sure.
your thing. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, right now, it is what it is. I know you say it was consensual, and maybe it was. None of us don't really know. But they're going to use that audio against you. And that audio, I hate to say, it's bad. It
yeah,
it doesn't sound good. And I hate for you to have to blow a check because of this. Like
yeah.
her, an OnlyFans girl, come on. And not the not OnlyFans girl, but I'm just saying. She's not
No
even on the
facts,
level. She hasn't even reached the
facts.
top to you. That's not worth you losing a check for.
No, it's not.
It's not you losing a check. When you deal with here's the thing about dating. I know Tracy Ellis talked about dating younger men and everybody went all crazy and all of that. Here's the thing you got to be careful with. This is why I don't like dating younger guys. Do I get hit on young guy all the time? But here's why I don't like doing it. Their mentality is not there. And the minute you want to pull back, they sometimes don't know how to control their actions at a certain point. And so you got to be very careful with that because they get scarred and they get hurt because they haven't matured yet to a certain level to understand this ain't worth it. Nobody ain't worth it. So I just rather deal with somebody on my level, hopefully thinking that we both have spent some time in life. So we kind of understand things on a certain point. My boyfriend is older than me, but we're still in the ballpark that we can, we both would know Cool It Now by New Edition. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But if
yeah,
I'm dating a 19 year, he'd be like, you want to do the TikTok pop beeping? What? Boy,
yeah,
shut up. We about to do some boots on the ground, pop, 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 pop. That's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Which boots on the ground? Boy, get
What's
out.
the boots on the
You know
ground?
what I'm saying? And it's not like you cannot align with someone younger or whatever, but there's going to be challenges because you guys are in two different eras. So again, guys, if you are struggling with that, because I do always want to help as a life coach, um, watch Laugh Your Way to a Happy Marriage by Mark Gunger and watch that specific the whole thing is good, but if you're struggling with that, watch that episode. It is really really helpful. Shannon, I wish you all the best in this situation, and yeah,
Yeah.
can we go move on, or you got one more last thing to say? And you can bring it back up.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, guys. So, respectfully, let me see if I can find it. I hope I can find it. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't. Let me see. Hold on. So, guys, we have to talk about this situation just because I know it hits everyone. Oh, here it is right here. Bless his heart. It hits everybody in a special way, and I want to make sure that I pay respect um, to everyone who is Catholic right now, who is in mourning right now. As you guys know, Pope Francis has passed away from a stroke and heart failure per the Vatican. His viewing has brought in people all over the world. The last time I checked, Aunt Wow, it was over 50,000 people. And that was earlier today when I was doing my research. Over 50,000 people have come to just pay respects to him. The thing that I just want to say about Pope Francis is that he just was open to everybody. And I think it's something we can learn from him. He gave grace to everybody. He truly didn't judge. Many times we say we're not judging, but most times we do. Like he really lived up to not judging. You know what I mean? He didn't care about same-sex, marriage. And on his birthday, guys, he would order from this gelato place in Rome, which I'm so mad. When I was in Rome, I didn't know about this place, but I got to go back to go to this place. But he would order over 100 cakes, like the cake he wanted, just to donate it to the homeless. If
Yeah.
we could all just take a piece of kindness. He didn't even want his viewing to be, they normally place the Pope up high when people come to view him. He wanted his burial to be low on the ground, guys, so
Mm.
that everybody could see him and feel like they had a piece of him. When I tell you people are traveling from all over the world, they've been standing in line forever. They don't care because it shows you that so many people want a piece of what goodness feels like.
Hmm.
And it's unfortunate we lost him. Obviously, he lived a full life, almost 90, but it still hurts, especially when someone's so good like that. So we want to pay respects
Word
to
up.
everyone who is Catholic. So
Yeah, and he I think the last time I looked it was actually it had moved. You had said 50. But when I looked right before we jumped on, it was like at 61 that it came.
dang.
That's a lot.
61,000,
Yeah.
61,000. Okay, guys, so let's talk about this. And you know what? I'm really saddened because this story has not been talked about, and I'm not happy with this story not being talked about because I feel like he is such a great musician, but people are not talking about Little Nas. Little Nas is experiencing one-sided facial paralysis. And when he made the comment on social media and he talked about it, he seemed to be very comedic and he seemed to be in good spirits. But I'm just shocked that many people are not talking about it. Lil Nas is such a talented entertainer, and yes, some people don't agree with his style and certain things he does or whatever. But first and foremost, he's done some great music and a dope artist. And I feel like he has been innovative of creating a new and different space that maybe we don't respect today, but maybe 10, 15 years down the line, we will respect. And so I just think as an artist, we had to talk about him and just send out prayers to him actually experiencing that.
Yeah. I believe he had, yeah, only 26. I believe he has
20,
Bell's palsy. I guess he was diagnosed with some form of it back in 2022. And then it
yeah.
just came on like,
Oh,
26.
so he was.
I
Oh,
believe so. I believe I saw that there was a let me see if I still have it up.
poor
Let's see.
Montero.
Um
Because right here they're saying they don't know what caused it, but that doesn't mean that they didn't know. But he just seems to be so positive, and I'm just so happy he's not playing victim. He says, "Stop being sad for me." The singer who has endeared himself to fans with his cheeky sense of humor and his internet trolling instead of requested, "Why don't you shake your A for me?"
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's
in June
yeah.
of 2022,
Hmm.
he shared he was diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which caused temporary paralysis to parts of his face and
Hmm.
forced him to cancel his tour at that time. So it wasn't Bell's part, but he was diagnosed with that at the time. Obviously, it had gotten better, but now obviously we're in this situation. So 26 years old, yeah, man. Prayers out for real.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always have a health update. I think the thing that I want to say, especially tying into this and then talking about Pope Francis, whatever you got to do, guys, find your peace. Find your peace. One way that I find peace, and I'm gonna ask Aunt Wild to show one way he finds peace before we go into our next topic. One way I find peace every morning I wake up. I have a what do you call those chairs? Those massage chairs. I
Mm.
get in it, I do my daily affirmations. After that, I put on Dappy Keys. If you guys are on YouTube, you know Dappy Keys. If you don't, check him out. He's an amazing pianist. I put him on to just put me in a spiritual state of just connecting with God, my angels, everyone. And then I just start praying. And that is a way that I find my peace. And at night, I do the same thing. I go back in my chair for about 15 minutes and just go into meditation and prayer. So, whatever you got to do, find your peace because when you don't have peace, stroke, all of these things can hit you, diabetes, because sometimes we overeat, sometimes we overwork. I'm a prime example of that, which is why I force myself in the chair so that I can have some type of peace throughout my day. Which one way that you find peace, Aunt Wild, that somebody can learn from you one thing
Yeah,
you
that's
do?
a good one. I picked up a tip from Denzel. I got to still get better at it because my
Mm-hmm.
mind starts going and I start moving probably too fast.
Mm.
But Denzel was in an interview and he was talking about, I get up and I'll just sit there for 15 minutes and not do nothing.
Ooh, that's good.
Said I'll just do not do nothing. I won't check my phone. I won't because immediately when you're sitting there, you'll check your phone. He was like, we know how addicting you'll turn on the TV, whatever it is, you'll get up and start moving. Just sit there for 15
Wow.
minutes and don't do anything.
Wow.
So I've been throwing that more in the mix. Like, I sat up this morning, I did that, but again, it lasted, my mind gets to going.
Yeah.
Um, so you know what that lesson is though? The lesson in that is actually, continue to stay centered with the time that you have. That way you can feel justified in allotting yourself to 15 minutes in the morning. Sometimes my
Mm.
mind will get to going, and so I get up and I'll start getting on the grind and get busy or whatever, whatever, but if when I do that and then that's followed up by a morning workout, usually set my day up pretty good. Like
Mm.
I'm usually sitting at a pretty good spot. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying?
goodness.
But the 15 minutes a day, when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God!" And he was like, "It takes discipline." He's talking about what I'm talking
Yeah,
about
I want to
now.
do
Like,
that.
it takes discipline. It sounds simple enough, but when you just sit there for 15 minutes and you don't do nothing, you're not looking at your phone, you're not playing no games, you're not doing anything. You just sit there for 15 minutes and just kind of be, and just kind of get just kind of center yourself. Um, then you proceed from that point. And I was like, the minute I saw it, I started implementing it.
Is
Again,
that
I'm not
soon as you wake up? As soon as you wake
you
up, or
wake up, you
anytime?
don't do anything unless you have
Okay.
to use the bathroom or something. But if you don't have to do anything at that moment, you wake up, you sit up, and you sit there for 15 minutes.
I like that. I'm going to try that because anybody can do that. I know everybody can't get a massage chair like me, but anybody can wake up for 15 minutes. Don't touch your phone. I am going to try that one because that
That one,
gives your brain a break.
that just gives you a chance to catch up with
Oh,
the fact that you just woke
ooh.
up. When you wake up and you get to ripping and running, whatever, I understand that somebody who will be on the go, you feel like, okay, I'm out here, and in the words of my baby cakes of my queen, am I cooking with gas? You know what I'm saying? You get out here, you start cooking with gas. That's her thing. See, I'm cooking the gas today, babe. I'm cooking with gas. That's her thing. I'm cooking with gas.
That is
Uh,
so funny.
oh, that is her thing. Her and her girl posse. That's one of their things. You know what I'm saying? I'm cooking. I'm out here cooking with gas. You know
That
what I'm
is
saying?
too funny.
Her and her girl posse. That's one of their things. So
I
yeah, I'm
love
cooking
it.
with gas today, babe.
I love it. Guys, we're going to go into one update really quick and then we will go into our sports. So, guys, if you have not seen it yet, Aunt Wow and I have a show coming up in Las Vegas, July the 26th. We're doing a show called Buckle Your Seatbelts. As we know, there's a lot going on in aviation. However, we didn't know all this stuff was going to happen in aviation, but there is something that someone always told me: it is not your time and it's God's timing. So obviously, this show was by divine. Buckle Your Seatbelts will take place Saturday, July the 26th. Doors will open at 7 p.m. There will be a bar for all my flight attendants that like to turn up. There will be a play bar at 7 p.m., but Aunt Wow knows me. When it says the show will start at 8 p.m., you better believe this girl don't play when it comes to time. The show will start on time because I do value people's time. I also will have little kids there who need to go to bed, so we have got to start our show on time. Ticket prices go from $50 to $75. 16 plus is recommended because there is some language in the show. And so Aunt Wow and I, we love the kids as well as all the actors. So we will be mindful. If you cannot come to Vegas, the show will be live streamed. If you want to do live stream, it's right here. When you actually purchase the live stream, this is where you would view it. You would go back to the site, and then here is the live stream. If you have any problem, here's where you call. All ticket sales are final. So let's just read the little synopsis to you. I'm also going to share some more information that may help you. Traveling can be a pain. Dealing with excessive traffic, fake cops, also known as TSA, disgruntled gate agents, and let us not forget the non-personality pilots and bougie flight attendants. Lisa Renee
Bougie.
takes you on a musical theater comedy show through the airport. You deserve a laugh, and you will never look at travel the same after this inspirational, drop-dead funny, authentic show told by a flight attendant. Now, some of you might be like, well, we're just joining. And if you are just joining us, welcome, welcome. We are Another Mother. We do this show, we do the show every Friday morning. And Aunt Wow and I just talk about the current events that are actually happening today, actually in the world. So if you don't know anything about who I am, let me share a little bit about who is Lisa Renee. We want to know who she is. I have been acting for a long time. I am literally being vulnerable and showing you my resume. Oops, my number. But if y'all start calling my number, you know what? I'm going to just change it. It doesn't matter. We're going to keep
No,
it real here.
she will change it.
I will change it. I change my number every 6 months, so it doesn't matter.
If that.
But I've been a UGC content creator. Obviously, you guys know some of my shows. I performed with the Harlem Globetrotters. I played the Grandmama character in the Spread Game Tour. I have done musical theater. This is where I land. These are some of the productions. Here's some of my television performances. Here's some of my film performances, my music video performances, my singer performances, my modeling performances. I studied with Seth Riggs. Seth Riggs worked with Whitney Houston back in the day. I also studied opera with Coach Viola in California. If you guys remember Alexia Robinson, she was on the Stories back in the day. I've, trained with her. Tracy Moore. I know a lot of people know Tracy Moore from Inside the Box. I have trained with her. Hollywood Acting, AMC, TC, AGI Entertainment. I know a lot of people know Natasha. Candy Burris has taken her child to that show. And then in college too as well, I studied theater and dance as well. And so this is, again, being vulnerable, telling y'all my weight and all that good stuff. I just wanted to share because a lot of people don't know who you are, right? And so you want to share some of that. So please get your tickets to buckle your seatbelts. Obviously, we want to see you in the house. If you are out in Las Vegas, Beyonce is performing that weekend. Maybe you can get a 2-for-1 if you actually come to the show. And if you are new, please subscribe, share, drop
Please.
a comment. We really appreciate it. It will help us to continue to grow. What we got happening? Give us a sport update, Aunt Weezy.
So my sports update literally changed right before we got on because it's going to be a different little turn here. So,
Okay, here we go.
um, we keep it at the young cats. So first of all, literally right before we got on here, I had seen this headline, but then my boy Tanet called me, and this is why this story it's we're gonna do inspiration, but it's really it has some of those themes. So Elijah Arenas, who is the son of Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas has Gil's Arena. It's a very popular podcast. Gilbert Arenas played in the league for years and got a bag, was one of the killers until he got hurt. As far as, he played in the Kobe era. Him and Kobe used to go back and forth. He's from LA, all the kinds of things. Well, his son was in a pretty bad car accident. He's a USC commit. He was in a bad car accident, and he's in an induced coma. So super prayers out. I mean, this kid was Elijah is the truth. he was the truth. And hopefully he still will be. We're putting it out there, man. I hope he's still on the path. I hope I just hope he's spared. You don't want to see anybody, but like he literally, like it's all in front of him. And it could just change that fast. And the reason why this rings home is because Tanet, who called me, his son, Uriah Tanet, I am absolutely plugging right now. Uriah Tanet, who's going to New Mexico next year. He's gonna ball out in the pit. Y'all in New Mexico. Coach O already know. I had the pleasure of meeting Coach O at what I'm talking about that ties this all together. So Uriah played in a tournament at Damien High School out here with his team Prescott, and they played against Chatsworth, which is where Gilbert Arenas' son goes. And it was literally like one of the best high school games ever. It went viral. Like everybody already kind of knew about Alijah Arenas because he's been that dog. But Uriah being on that stage showed out, and him and Elijah had such a battle. They had to take a picture afterwards together on opposite sides of each other. That was one of the best games. It went into overtime. That was one of the best games. Well, Elijah had 56 that day. Uriah had 54 that day. When they first came over to us, they actually said he had 56, but then when I guessed the official, he had 54. But the first word I got was 56, which is why anybody who's seen my post when I'm sitting there and it's me and Uriah, I said, look who dropped 56 today, because that's what they came and told us immediately after the game. I say all that to say it can change fast, you guys. It can change fast. I just saw this kid a few months ago. I mean, he's the big. I mean, I feel my heart goes out to you, just as a brother, as a man, as a brother, as a father. You've had your success, and you see your son on the way. I can relate to that because that's the arena I could grew up in. I could only imagine, how my dad would feel. I could only imagine how my boy would feel, Michael Tennett. Like if that happened to Uriah, like you guys were just battling each other. You guys just have the picture together. And like I said, everybody who knows hoop, any pay attention to high school hoop throughout the country, they know who he is because they had the game and Uriah went off. He had about 4-5 dunks. He's only 5'10. You know what I'm saying? Light skinned boy out there going off. You feel me? And this is just a moment. I'm sending prayers. And this is just a moment, because like I said, I just got off that phone call because he had the conversation with Uriah. Like, look how fast it could change, son. You know what I'm saying? And started giving him life lessons. He's about to graduate high school. All the kids are doing stuff. Hey man, you got a big screen ahead of you. Everybody's tunnel ain't as light as yours. There's a huge light at the end of the tunnel for you. We got to protect that. So as a result, not that we can control everything, but we can control the vast majority of most things. So that means you're not going to be in these situations. And again, I don't know what happened. Prayers up, man, just prayers up. But I'm saying these are even more reasons you drive home conversations, especially when you're teaching the young people because they haven't been through this before. So you're like, hey, look, this is the value of decision making. Haven't we been talking about decision making all show? Because that's part of the game too. Hey, look, you got your girl, y'all chilling. But even in that situation, you just have to be mindful of everything, and you got to game them up and everywhere, and there's no exemption to it. All of your relationships, decisions you make, you want to be out late, like he said, because he be wanting to be out late, and I be telling him no. And it's not like I don't trust you, son. It's I don't really trust the environment too much after 12. I don't really trust the environments you can be in after 12. You could be sitting there doing nothing, being whatever, but somebody else in that environment may decide that they want to change the environment for whatever reason. And then in them changing the environment, you could catch a stray from that, pun intended, but not intended. Like real talk. So this is just a PSA to it could all change fast. I'm dealing with a very close situation in my family where a similar situation and has changed fast and it's been different, right? So this is just whatever you can gather from this sports update. They literally changed 2 minutes before. I had a whole nother update. I wanted to talk about the playoffs, which I will save because I'm dropping a thing. So I'll save that. But I had to get that in because We're already living in fragile times, everyone. Decision making is paramount right now. It's at a premium because we are hitting foul balls. We're hitting foul balls out here.
That part.
So
Too
we
many.
have to be, did you say that before we were rolling or did
I
you say
think
that
we
on the
were
show?
rolling and you were like, yeah, fouls. I said it when we were rolling.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted to because I
Yeah.
had
Which
to
is
give if
great.
you said it before we were rolling, I had to give the props to you. If you like
Yeah.
that one, she's the one who said that. That's a bar. We
Yeah.
out here hitting some foul balls.
Yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
result, I'm not saying this is a foul ball. So please don't lump them together. I'm
Right.
saying overall, decision making is at a paramount because
Hmm.
we're hitting some foul balls. So we got to offset that algorithm.
Yeah. I agree.
Does
I
that make sense? We have to
It
offset
does.
that. So we need the positive deposits. We have to offset the algorithm so that we don't have to report on shit like that, stuff like this. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying.
No.
Um, so take from that what you will. Prayers go out, super prayers go out to Elijah, his family, Gilbert. I can relate to that being an athlete. Just that, I haven't had the honor of being a dad yet, but I'm very close to that situation. So I just send in love and support and prayers to the whole
Mhm.
situation. Hopefully, this is something we can look back on. And that was a scary thing, but you were able to bounce back. And this can be an inspiration story 5 years from now when you're in the third year in the league and you're
Yeah.
leading your team to the playoffs.
Yeah. Because
Like,
he's
hopefully,
averaging.
this turns into that story.
Yeah.
So I'm really praying for you on that and the
Yeah,
whole
and
fam.
it's so funny you say that because his mom, Lauren Govin, she was like,
Hmm.
in cap, I need all of your effing prayers. And honey, you got ours. You got our being a mom of a son, you have my prayers.
Yeah.
And Gilbert's averaged 31 points a game.
Yeah, Gilbert was a monster. He
Wow.
was at the game. Him and Lauren were at the game. Lauren was sitting right next to us at the game. We was at it was a
Wow.
classic game. The whole tournament it was classic. Like
Wow.
it was the vibe. Everybody's in there. It was rocking and rolling. So again, that
Well, let
I
me,
was looking forward to more of that. So prayers out. You getting the
yeah.
prayers, Lauren. You getting the prayers for sure.
Absolutely, you are. And that brings up a really good point. 2 points. When I traveled with the Harlem Globetrotters, I had no idea. And I should have been told this before being an entertainer, but I had never heard this. And I was so thankful for the training that I got from the Broadway team that trained us. One of the female, she is from The Lion King. I think she plays the hyena. But she was telling the players, and they were all telling the players, don't go to clubs, be mindful of going to amusement parks. And they shared a lot of other things because if you get hurt, and COVID was really big back then,
Hmm.
if you get hurt, you impact the whole production,
Right.
the whole organization, right? And so I remember my boyfriend, we were just going, 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 going. And he was like, you want to go to this party? And I said, no, I have a show to put on in July. If something goes
Yeah.
down, I impact all of these people. And
Yeah.
so you have to protect the commodity that is bringing money for you.
For
You know what
sure.
I mean? So these basketball players do got to be careful, football players, of what they do because they can not only injure themselves, but they hurt the game too as well. But something that you said, I'm gonna tap into. Around Christmas, guys, I had posted a video. It was three women talking, and respectfully, I'm not going to tell you which women. We were talking about dating, and I just was getting advice from three different women from three different ages. Today, I had to attend a funeral today because one of the women that we spoke to that I had interviewed last year sometimes, her boyfriend is no longer here, and he was at our house. He was
Dang.
at our house doing well, just a beautiful spirit about him. And we just got the call last week that he is no longer here.
Dang.
So, what, Aunt Wow? Take that to be real. And we're talking, he was 63.
Mm.
Now, you think about the Pope who lived 88, right?
Hmm.
This guy was only 63 years old. And the sad thing is that, and this is why I don't want to share who it is, because I want to respect them. They were going through some tough times. And it made me realize everything that happens doesn't need to turn into a mountain. Some
Mm.
problems in relationships, let's just let them stay pebbles. Let's
Mm.
use humor, do what we have to do, but let them be pebbles.
Mm.
Because nothing can turn into a mountain unless I choose to make it a mountain. So
Mm,
sometimes things are really this small, but because we talked to our girlfriend and this one and our mom and our dad and our bestie and our this and that, now we have taken a pebble and we have escalated that situation.
mm.
And I wonder if she knew he would have been gone exactly almost 4 months later. We did that conversation on Christmas, guys. What is
Man,
today? April
the
24th, almost
24th,
4 months later,
literally to the
gone.
day.
He's gone.
I mean, that's wow.
You know what I mean? So what Anthony is saying when he talks about decisions and things like that, don't put your job over your loved ones. Don't do it.
Mm, mm,
Don't do it.
mm,
Don't do it. I know
mm.
bills pile up and we got that, but kiss your significant other when you leave the house, right? If you're having a tough time, say, I know we're having a tough time, but we're going to talk about it. When I get home or tomorrow, if we can talk about it, just make some type of peace because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Damn.
And we've had too many examples. I am in shock this guy is gone. Because we all talked about going out to eat together, and we never got a chance to do that as couples
Mhm.
because he is no longer here. And the sad thing, at the funeral today, do you know a woman passed out, started going into an epileptic shock?
Mm.
And Julian, my boyfriend, who's a technical surgeon, he jumped up, went over there having medical background. And I was right there too as a flight attendant because we're trained to as well. We don't know what's happening with this lady right now.
Yeah.
We don't know if she's still around. No
Yeah.
one knew this was
Dang.
going to happen we're here grieving him to only see this woman start shaking and going into a shock. And the pastor ran down the aisle. God, this is a true story. The pastor ran down the aisle and put his hands on her arm and just start praying.
Mm.
They had to put her to the floor because stuff was just coming out of her mouth. When we tell you guys, a mother just had to bury her son, it is no longer, oh, we get old and that's how people are passing. Like there is no tomorrow.
Man.
So we tell you on Another Mother, keep the negativity to yourself. If you're gonna put somebody down, put them down in private, right? Let's put some more love and energy into our loved ones because we don't know what tomorrow brings. It's not worth it. We've all had conflict within our families and all these type of things. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Love
Mm.
on your brother, love on your sister, love on your spouse, love on your significant other, love on your best friend, love on your mother, your father, your aunt, your niece, whoever, grandparents, whoever you've had that conflict, be in peace. Be in peace, guys. So we're
At
gonna
at
go.
least I wanna say
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
to piggyback off that. At least look in the mirror long enough to make a decision on how you truly want to get to that peace, because that peace may not end in flowers and roses.
Mm,
That peace with that relationship might be what it is. You know what I'm saying? But do the work to get to that space. It will solve a lot.
ooh, that's good. That's
Do
good.
the work to get to that space. It'll solve a lot. It'll solve a lot. One of the best lines in a movie that sums this up, and take this for what you will, but it resonated with me from the first time I saw it, and every time I hear it, I see it. It's Antoine Fisher, and it's towards the end when he comes back after meeting his family and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen it. I'm sorry, but if you're watching this show, you get down with our vibe. You should have seen Antoine Fisher by now.
Mhm.
Let's keep it uptown. Wow. Um, and he's talking to, I can't remember the character, but he's talking to Denzel's character. Denzel's character was his therapist, and so he was telling him that he went and met his family, and he was like, how was because he was adopted, he didn't know his family, mom or
Yeah,
dad, so he
right.
went on that journey to find them. His mom and dad were both deceased, but he found his family. He got in touch with this whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry, his dad was deceased. His
Mm-hmm.
mom was alive, played
Mm-hmm.
by Viola Davis. We all know how awesome she is.
Yes.
So he goes and has a conversation with her, just pretty much has a conversation with her. And then when he's talking to Denzel's character, he said, I found my mother. And he was like, okay. And he's like, in my heart, I forgive her, but if I never see her again. And sometimes that's the
Mhm.
outcome.
Yeah.
but do the work to get to that space.
Yes.
Because look at now how he's able to move forward in his life because he got to that space. All
Yeah.
the anger and stuff that he was having, kind of tying back to the earlier conversation we were having. If you're feeling this way and it causes you to
Yeah.
react, especially to, we were talking about it in a black sense toward black men,
Yeah.
towards black women, but
Hmm.
in general now, if it causes you to react in a certain way, you need
You
to
haven't dealt with that
confront that.
trauma. Yeah,
You
you
got to
haven't dealt with that
confront
trauma.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
confronting that, you know why that's hard? Because in confronting that, you have to look in the mirror there in a way you've never had to before. And that
Yes.
SHIT can be painful because
Yeah.
there's a lot of honesty you have to have, a lot of
Yeah.
honest conversations you have to have with yourself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then in that, you can then deal with, right? Whatever that is.
Hmm.
And wherever that is, if you truly do it, if you decide, you know what, I've done what I've done, I've had to have this conversation. I've had to have this conversation with Lisa Renee, and we'll leave it like that.
Hmm.
Um, about a very close
Likewise.
situation. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Likewise.
And
Yeah.
likewise.
Yep.
So if it gets to that, you at least got to do the work to get to that.
Yeah. I,
So even, that's where the you never know it'll change. You at least want the opportunity to say whatever it is you got to say. They
yeah.
may not like it. A
Yeah.
very, very close friend of mine, I remember having this conversation. I'll leave it on this. I remember having this conversation with Chuck, one of my dogs. I name him Nameless because it's sensitive. One of my absolute best friends walking planet Earth. Dad came to Father's Day years ago. Didn't really have a relationship with his dad. Totally his dad's fault. All the kinds of things. We had Father's Day over here. Father, dad came. Um, it was awesome. I talked to Chuck the next day. That situation made me thankful. Father's Day was the next day. Just
Hmm.
made me thankful about my situation. I talked to Chuck about it. Me and Chuck, I gave him all kind of love, all kind of son love. Just gave him love. Thank you for being all the things, all the same things I told him that day, any other day that I could when he was leaving, all the things. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He said, and I told him about this, the situation that I
Yeah.
had witnessed.
Yeah.
And he was really happy because he loves my boy that I'm talking
Yeah.
about, loves him to
Yeah.
death, like he
Yeah.
loved him to death. So he was really happy. But then again, I think part of maybe even a Papa Bear for him, for my boy, Papa Bear, like even on him, like he said, I hope, he said, I hope this stays like this. Time will tell.
Mm.
And I remember at first being like, oh no, Pop, what you mean? It's all good. Like he came, woo, 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 woo. And he was like, he didn't want no smoke, but he stood by what he said. He said, I'm just saying, time will tell. Because the man that wasn't there is gonna have to be the mirror looker.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean the son isn't either, right?
Right. Right.
Because to make a decision to go have that conversation, you got to be at a certain place,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, it's going to come out in some crazy stuff. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
and in that, you got to check yourself a lot. There's a lot involved, X, Y, and Z. I've had to do that with a man who was there my whole life. I could only imagine having to confront that with
Yeah.
somebody who wasn't there and having to have that conversation, right? So
Yeah.
I say this out of love and empathy. Don't
Absolutely.
I only know based on mine, so I can only relate to if the person wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
But the onus of that ownership is coming from, the person who
Yeah.
wasn't there. So
Absolutely.
we'll see for years how that goes. And as he broke it down to me, I was like, dang. He was like, I said, it's easy now. This was good times. It was good. Everybody had a good time. But he was pretty much like, it ain't gonna always be like this. So we'll see how he reacts in that.
Yeah.
And that right there is the perfect thing. Like, nah, you gotta. He would be doing himself a disservice if he didn't get that off before he left. Take whatever it is you got to take. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
but get that off. That's why if anybody close to me, anybody who's not,
Yeah.
y'all can go jump in the lake. But anybody who, if they have a problem with me, hey man, get it off. One of my very closest people to me just had
Yeah.
to get off on me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just had to get off on me, and I had to tell her, "Hey, look, man,
Right.
you got the floor. I ain't got. I'm not. I'm letting you cook because
Right.
I understand why you might feel that way. Go ahead, cook away. I could take it. I mean, it doesn't mean it doesn't sting or X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
but get off. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna get off,
Right.
right?
Right.
So at least do the work to get to that place where you can reside. Because I'm telling you, it's a lot more peaceful there. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It just
Yeah.
means it's a lot more peaceful. Like Lisa said, it's a lot more peaceful. So do what you got to do to
It
get to
is.
that peace.
It's a journey. Life is really a journey. And that's why people say it takes work and relationships. And that's like relationship as friends and everything, because to be in this constant place of peace and happiness, you have to be mindful of others, and being mindful of others takes work, because
Whew.
sometimes you do have to compromise a little bit or collaborate a little bit, which goes against your normal self sometimes, but you do it for the greater good of the situation. And that's where the work comes in that everybody doesn't want to do, because we live in a society that is very selfish. Me, 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 me. So the
Right.
last thing we're going to talk about, guys, I think I saw a common denominator. We're going to talk about Kanye and his new song, Cousin. This is going to be our last major topic. Yeah, yeah. And he's got to put his head down on this one. I see a common denominator that this is the only thing that I really want to talk about. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Obviously now we know that Kanye does things that we probably are not really surprised, but we've never heard it before. So we're like, okay, he did something to his cousin and he feels guilty because now his cousin is obviously locked up. And he felt like maybe he played a part in that, but there was something that he said that really resonated with me. And I don't know if anybody has caught this. And if you have, drop a comment. I noticed Kanye keeps throwing up bad things regarding his mother. I don't know if anybody caught that. I found magazines, but the ones I found in my mom's was even, it was like it was worse. And I just find that Kanye subliminally, I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, he's trying to lack accountability and put the blame, yet on another Black woman, on his mother lately. And it's really sad. I don't know if this is a part of his healing journey. I'm not really sure, but I
Mm.
noticed lately the things he's been doing. He keeps bringing up his mom, but he's bringing up her in a worser light. Like I found these books, but the ones I found in my mom's were even worse. And then the week before we talked about her, oh yeah, I heard my mom and she was doing this with the same, sex. Like I don't know if he's trying to not take accountability, but if that's what's subliminally happening, because I'm a life coach, so I read deep into these things. Let me tell you something. What's his mom name again? Donda.
Donda.
At the end of the end of the day, when we all became 18, any choices you make at that point in time, you grown. You're grown. And you're past 30, 35, 40, right? He's in his 40s, right?
Yeah, Kanye's closer to 50 than 40.
Right.
Probably
You're
got to be
grown.
46, 47, 46, 47.
You're grown now, Kanye. But it's because you haven't done the work. And we do know that you do have a medical condition, just to be fair. Kim had put that out there. I think he's even spoke on that. So I'm not sharing anything that he has not already shared. But anyone with a medical condition, I have family that have medical conditions. You have to take your medicine. You have to take your meds, but you also have to deal with your trauma. Even if your mom did have some things that were inappropriate, who hasn't had that?
Yeah.
Who has not had something in their past that our parents did that we did not like? And you are doing a heck of a lot of things that your kids are not gonna like.
We.
So you're not in the position to put anything out there about your mom because your kids can write a book on the
Ooh,
stuff that you've done.
ooh,
Let her rest in peace. My God. If I remember, wasn't his mom like a professor? Like she was
Yeah, I think
very
she was like a
smart.
professor. Yeah,
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 she
yeah.
was very bright. And what she did in the privacy of her home is her business. And you know, and I know, Kanye, as little snotty nosed kids, we were always in our parents' room, still in our parents' cars, doing things we're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to go into that drawer. You know what's in that drawer. We all know people got their rabbits in them drawers. They got their book in them side. You don't go in your parents' side drawers. You, because of your curiosity, you went looking in there. That was your mother's grown business. That was your mother's grown business. Leave her alone. Let her rest in peace, Kanye. Get help for the trauma that you feel like she has put on you. Because, guys, listen to this. We can blame our parents all day. But at the end of the day, when you become a parent, you're going to find that you're not going to do things perfect. You do things the best way you know how. And if your parents did hurt you, you got to go get help for that so that you can have peace, something we've been talking about today, so that you can be at peace with who your parent is and who you are. And if you want to do better, do better. Say, you know what? I learned from my mom and dad of what not to do. And so I'm going to try to do things differently, but don't think you're better than them though. Don't think you're better than them because the walk that your parents have, you can't even walk that. They dealt with things more stronger than we could ever. They didn't have all these rights like we do now.
Mm.
So they were just trying to figure things out, do things the best way they know how. Kanye, you've been one of the biggest rappers and producers of all time. If anything, you need to be praising your mom. No, she might have not been perfect. No mother is. No father is. But does that mean I have to tell everyone those illicit details of what I had happen with my mom? No. What I have to do is say, I experience these things. I probably need to go and get help. And I can see if Kanye came out with it once, here and there, but it's just so consistent that we all know he just needs to get help with that trauma. But stop trying to place blame on your mom. Stop trying to place blame on your mom. This has everything to do with you. And like Aunt Wild said, I'll leave it. Your choices.
Mm. Mm.
Mic drop.
Mm.
Done.
You know what? It's interesting. I was just gonna let that be, because you nailed everything. But it's interesting you brought up when you said, because obviously this is about his cousin, to be clear on the thing. It's
Yes.
about his cousin. He had relations with his cousin until he was 14. He was doing things to his cousin until he was 14.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, then that part of it, because he was talking about the magazines and they found magazines and all that. And then like now that you say that, there was this, okay, because there was just something else where he was, oh, with the same sex thing with his mom type of stuff. So
Yes. You see
I'm
the
like,
correlation? A lot of
yeah,
people, I
so
think,
so
miss that.
then you know
Yeah.
where it took me? Me thinking out the box the way I am, the way I do the vast majority of the time. I was like, knowing Kanye and the state that he's in and not really feeling like he obviously keeps coming with this stuff because he doesn't feel like he has enough either trustworthy outlets or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So then I wonder if he's mad at her for not being here to be that, because that would be his outlet
Mm.
because she was that mom to him,
I can see
regardless of
that.
what he says now. That is the relationship they had. He was the only child. I think he was her only child for sure. Um, she was a single mom. They were always there were listen, here's how it was. She came across a path of success and she was a
Hmm.
single mom. And in
Hmm.
that road to success, there may have been a decision or two she had to make to help elevate her success, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe being a son, you probably weren't shielded enough from that.
Hmm.
But she was like you said, the person you are, she absolutely celebrated.
Yes.
Whatever version of yourself you would have been, she would have celebrated it. And I am judging on just the relationship you guys had and how you have mourned her since.
Mhm.
Donda's almost been gone 20 years. He's
Yep.
still mourning her. Does that make sense?
It
I say
does
that
make
from
sense.
empathy. I say
I
that
mean,
from
that's from
love.
a different space. A part of me, I was going to say something, but I could kind of see that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
I
like
could see that you're kind of mad because she's not here, but then I think about everybody he's dated. It's almost like I've erased her though.
yeah,
Not
well,
even, yeah, it's like, do you? Because many times people tend to modern women after their mother, but it seems like he's tried to escape that.
and
Or
maybe
maybe it's
that
a
was,
coincidence. I don't know.
or no, maybe that's exact. I mean, because everybody since her has been, not her.
Not
So
her.
maybe in him dealing with that pain, maybe that was too close and maybe he hadn't come to peace with that. So
Very
maybe
good.
dealing with the woman in that space was too
Yeah.
close to something that he had enough money and he was successful enough to feel like he could shield himself from that. But
Yeah.
since then, there's been a tote of the fine line. Now he's just over it,
Yeah.
right? Now he's just over the line. But
Yeah.
there's always been a total the fine line. The effed up part about that is that's I'm sure has contributed to some of his genius as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Musically, some
Yeah.
of his genius as well,
Absolutely.
right? Even surrounding himself by the right people, because he deserves every credit. Anybody who knows me, especially when we come to music,
That's
knows,
beautiful.
the fact that I don't bump Ye as much as I used
Yeah.
to, simply because of however I feel. And it's not even really on
Yeah.
anything other than, I think I may have said this on the podcast before. Honestly, it just got to a point where I just don't feel like we're on the same, like, I don't know if we could just, I don't know if we would vibe. So then
He's
it's just
crossed over
different.
the line. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It,
different to listen to the
yeah.
music because I just don't know if we would vibe as people. So but anyway, that's a whole nother
Yeah.
spill. But my
Yeah.
point to that is he obviously is still dealing with it. It's very apparent. I mean, he has Donda as an album, which is a great album.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the albums that drew me back in because I was already kind of like, I don't know if I'm feeling Kanye
Yeah.
anymore. Then Donda came out, and my dumb self listened to it, and I was like, oh, you got me back in. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not his best album, but when
Yeah.
you take away everything and you just listen to it for what it is, and it's called Donda, and the
Yeah.
whole theme is around there. There's no cussing on there. He's in the most godly way
Yes.
paying homage to her.
Yes.
So that's what made me go to the place of, in this time, because he obviously doesn't have any trustworthy outlets
Yes.
that he
I
that he
agree.
can pour all of this stuff
I
into.
agree. I
So
agree.
now it's manifest, and this ain't making no excuse for him. I'm just
Right.
looking at it
No.
strictly for,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? Like now
Mhm.
he's coming out with all this old stuff because he everybody needs an outlet.
We do.
Somebody like him needs an outlet
Yeah.
because I can relate to that. This is gonna sound a certain way, but I can relate to that that crazy genius tap in,
Yeah.
and you need outlets for that.
You do.
You know what I'm
And I think
saying?
he said that he didn't have an outlet. So he's a prime example. He's got too many yes people around him, and
Correct.
the people who have probably tried to keep accountability, they're probably fired,
Correct.
because he doesn't want to, hear that.
Correct. And
And
he can't fire Donda.
yeah,
So she's still here. He can't fire her.
yeah, she's probably around him all the time. That
You see what
DNA
I'm
is
saying?
connected.
And
Yeah.
he can't fire her wisdom. He
Yeah.
can't fire her perspective. He
Yeah.
can't fire her love. He can't fire when he just wants to call and be a son and the mom just accepts and whatever.
Mhm.
He doesn't have, so maybe that's now manifest. This is, mind you, this is fresh thoughts, y'all. I hadn't thought about it. When you
Yeah.
said it centers around his mom, that's literally when I started all this thought process. I'm
Absolutely.
like, well, maybe he's mad at her for
Could
not
be.
being here.
Could
And
be.
because he hasn't gotten to a place of peace yet, because it's very apparent he still mourns her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't gotten to that place yet, and because of not getting to that place and not wanting to be in a position to hold yourself accountable enough
Yeah.
to get to that place, didn't I say that? Because now
Yeah.
you're going to have to hold yourself accountable. So now you're going to have to get rid of some of these yes people. You're going to have to go probably eat crow to a couple
Yeah.
of the old people that you dismissed who genuinely loved you and had your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go eat some crow with them and be like, look, I'm just trying to get right. I know I did you wrong. Can I get you back? You're gonna have to do all that kind of stuff. And in there, you're probably gonna get some no's.
Yeah.
Your 400, $800 million don't mean anything to those people. That's why you keep them around.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
don't matter.
Yeah.
So there's a whole thing with that,
Yeah.
right? Because now you don't hold it. And Mike Tyson had alluded to this. He was like, man, and he's still kind of, well, I don't know if he's still, but like even later, even being on the other side of it,
Mhm.
Mike Tyson can look back at it and be like, I love the leechers. Like I used to love the leechers. I used to love the moochers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I was so in love with what I thought was the stuff. I didn't
Right.
want no, you know what I'm saying? God bless his soul, but Swiss Beast said the same thing about Dark Man X. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, like they weren't as close as he started going through his thing because he started getting rid of the people who would tell him about himself. Nobody cares about that
Absolutely.
success, the ones that truly love you. So
Absolutely.
there's a lot of crow that you got to eat to even get to the point to say, okay, now let me confront Donda and confront this
Absolutely.
pain. And let me go really, if you got to go to her gravesite or wherever she is and sit
Yeah.
down, trust me, that stuff is real. I do it all the time. Every time I
Yeah.
touch down in Sac, I got to go have a little convo. We got to go chop it up. We got to get some understanding. And the last few times I've been going to Sac, I've been going straight for the airport.
Yeah.
Hey man, take me. Hey man, you already know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know where you need to go. Yeah, get me there, man. It ain't got to be no all day thing. Just get me there. Let me start my trip off right. Kind of waking up in the
Absolutely.
morning, 15 minutes. Let me start my trip off right. Let me go holler at my peoples. Let me go holler at moms and pops. If I got to do a couple tears, which
Yeah.
always seem to come, you know what I mean? You ain't
Absolutely.
got to fight for them, you know what I mean? And let that be what that is and love and Joyce and X, Y, and Z and then go on, but there's a lot of confronting in that, even still, we all learn stuff, there's things I
Absolutely.
learned where I was like, dang, but you confront. So that's all I would say in that situation. When you said that, it put me down that whole mind state. And I'm like, maybe he's mad at her for not
Yeah.
being here. And the unfortunate fact is her beautiful spirit isn't here. So
Mm.
now there's just steps that need to be taken. But when you're in a place where you can create a cushion financially, where we overvalue your importance because of the money you have or the influence you have or whatever, because
Mhm.
of the clickbait you represent or can generate, we overinflate your importance.
Yeah.
So that allows you to be in a situation where you can only continue to hire yes people. You feel what
I
I'm saying?
agree. And her
So
beautiful spirit is around physicality. She's not around, but her spirit is probably around him all the time. Guys, we're going to leave you with one last thing, but we do want to give a shout out. Obviously, the Boston Marathon just took place. I loved it. Delta, every time we were about to board a plane, we would give a shout out. We would give applause for everyone who ran in the Boston Marathon. If I'm mispronouncing yeah, definitely kudos. If I'm mispronouncing these names, forgive me. John Poirier, he won the men's race. And then I believe Sharon Lokiti from Kenya, she won the race, I think, period, at 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 22 seconds. And then from Team USA, we had Connor Matz. Give it up, Connor.
oh,
He,
word, Connor Metz won.
yeah,
Oh, that's
well,
what's
he
up.
led the pack. He was in fourth place at 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 8 seconds. So
He
let's
had
give it
fourth
up.
place though. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what's up. Good
that's
stuff, Connor.
that's really awesome.
Connor
Good.
trying to make his way in that world. Good for him.
Exactly. So last thing we want to leave you with, we just got feedback. We haven't done our inspirational thoughts the way we normally do it, but we just got feedback. Someone was like, I love your inspirational thoughts. So we wanted to leave you with this because we had a lot to talk about and we wanted to get right into Shannon. But the inspirational thought we want to leave you with is, and we talk similar to this, so it ties right in. This is by Oscar Wilde. Wilder, like Ant.
Hey, bum
It
bum
says,
kind
be
of.
yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Let's say that again. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So I'm going to say what I got to say because dopamine, he going to leave y'all with this. This is so, oh God, this is so deep because we are in a world, my show, Buckle Your Seatbelts. That's what it comes to me. The first act is taking a ride through my life. And you will see if you are at the show or you watch the live stream of how many people on my journey told me to be counterproductive of who I was. Prime example, I have a very strong singing voice. Aunt Wow knows this. I am the Jennifer Hudson. But
Man,
I was
stop it.
told, sing soft, sing
Mm,
beautiful,
mm.
Sing this. That's what everybody, wants to hear. Ooh, ooh. But then if you
Yeah.
listen to my album, Wonder Woman,
Oof. Blowing the
Lost
doors
in
off.
You,
Ooh.
you know what I'm saying?
Man.
Chili,
Ooh.
you know what I mean? You will hear the vibrato. And I even had to pull
Oof.
back sometimes on those songs because I was constantly told, you're singing too hard. Just let me sing from my gut.
Yeah. Mm.
But this was thrust into me that a lot of people would just hear my dance song and they'd be like, oh, Lisa, like you're the dance entertainer. That I am. I am an
Mm-hmm.
entertainer, hands
Mm-hmm.
down. I love to dance,
Mm-hmm.
but I also sang. I
Sang.
also love.
Yeah.
I say,
Sang. Mm-hmm.
but you know what I mean? I love to sing too as well. And I don't want to undermine that gift, but that's what people do. So if it's anything I can teach you from my older age, if I could tell my 20-year-old self or, 25-year-old self, I would say, Lisa, just sing from your heart.
Mm.
Just sing from your heart and
Mm.
find a producer. And maybe I'm talking to someone, right? Find a producer who gets you, not a producer who makes you get them,
Mm.
but a producer who gets you.
Mm.
Because just maybe if you were able to sing how you truly sing, how the way you sing, maybe your career could even go a different path or way.
Man, stop it.
But because someone tried to force you, dumb your voice down, you had to be pretentious
Mm.
for so many years and so many songs of so many albums of so many even pictures I didn't want to take.
Mm-hmm.
People try to make you everything that you are. And what will happen one day, you will like scream because you're like, this is not me.
Yep. Mm.
This is not me. So when Oscar Wilde is telling you, be yourself, everyone else is taken, stop following the trends. Be the trend.
Mm.
Be the trend. People's like, Lisa, you doing a musical theater comedy show? Yeah. It's called innovation.
Mm.
I'm doing something different, but
Mm.
this is me.
Right.
The singer, the writer, the producer, the leader. She's not doing something she doesn't do.
Mm.
These are all her gifts if you know her. So she's doing what she does in a creative, thoughtful, loving, provocative way because I am being me.
Yep.
People will try to send me stuff of other. I don't want to see it. I told people I appreciate someone doing aviation stuff. I don't want to see it. Don't send me
Right.
nothing of an aviation. I don't want to see it.
Right.
Because now those thoughts are going to start to bleed in. When you're trying to create and be inventive, you got to knock the noise out. That's why I had to get off of social media for a period of time. And people took it personal. People started unfollowing me. Great. Because
Right.
like it took my son to say, Mom, those that unfollowed you, they weren't real fans anyway.
Right. Right.
Real fans are going to stay down in regardless of what. And he was right. And that's why I love sometimes the millennial generation, this generation, they're not taking this mess. They don't care about record labels. They're like, please, I'll sell my stuff independently. I'm not trying to be with a record label. They have wisened up to not let people tell them to be one way that they don't want to be. They want to sing, they want to do their art, they want to do things that naturally is in their heart. You don't need to try to get a butt like somebody else. Love your own butt, even if it's a little butt.
I'm
Love
telling you.
it.
I'm saying.
Because the world, I'm talking to the 20-year-old Lisa and these other people that are watching me, the world will try to tell you to be everything that you're not. And you got to fight that. And when you fight that, guess what you're doing? You're fighting for your rights. You're really just fighting for your rights to be heard. There's sometimes Ant Wild, he'll be about to say something. He's like, no, no. I'm like, say it. Because I know if he doesn't say it, he's not being truthful to himself. And if you love somebody, you would allow them to be truthful to themselves, even if you don't want to hear the message, because they have that right to be themselves. And we got to create a good environment and space for people to be themselves. Even if we don't get it, even if we don't understand it, even if it stings maybe a little bit, but if they can't be themselves, you know how crippling that is?
Mm-hmm.
To grow in old age and never hear your voice?
Yeah.
Because everyone keeps trying to tell you, oh, you got to do things this way. This is another thing. This is my last point before I pass the torch to my boy. You always got to have a B plan.
Yes.
That damn B plan has stopped so many of us from growing. Listen to me and listen to me good, parents. Stop. Let your children go after their A plan with their entire might and support them for at least 5 or 6 years till they're about 26 or whatever, so that they can truly say, I had a chance of trying this. But if you force them to get this job and do that because they need a B plan, that's not them.
Yeah.
That's not them. If your child is writing crowns on the wall, it is because they are artists. Then go teach that child. Now, I know you're an artist because you just drew this on the wall. Now I'm going to put you in artist classes so that you can be really good and perfect it, so then you can get paid. And then I want you to go to school and learn business too, so that you can know how to perfect your art. Not learn business, because that's
Yeah.
how you learn business to perfect your art, son.
Yeah.
So you can know how to sell your art or start your own art gallery. You learn operations. You are dying inside when you cannot be yourself. Stop emulating people on these social media channels. Be yourself. Aunt Wild and I know, we know, because we're not shading people and cussing people out and making noises and downing people. We may not get all the views right now, but we can look in the mirror and said everything that I tried to say against Shannon, Kevin, Kanye was out of a loving place. And prayers to all of them, because we want all of us to continue to be great. Love you.
Man.
Physically love you. Your face, your nose, I know. I did plastic surgery. I know. You got to love all of you. I wrote a song about it. Remember Perfect Image?
Perfect Image.
I wrote it. I said, I know that was me. Because the industry tried to force you. Get this, get that, get that. You're not this, you're not that, you're not this. And so I had to wake up. I said, oh, hell to the no, no,
Right.
no.
Right.
I'm not the problem. They're the problem.
Yeah.
They're the problem. You work in corporate. Oh, don't say that. Oh, honey, say what you feel, as long as you're not trying to step on people's toes, but never let people suffocate you. Because if you start suffocating, you're going to eventually die on the inside. And that's how depression and anxiety sets in. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Passing the baton, Aunt Weezy. What do you got to say before we get out of here?
It's funny you said about the B plan, because in the entire spirit, if I could tell my younger self, if I'm telling anybody that's in the younger phrases now, especially if you're in the 20, 21 to 28, 29 phrase, hell, I'll even throw 30 in there. But definitely 21 to 28, 29. If you are in this area, if I could go back and tell myself the power of being yourself, and I'm gonna take this phrase and I'm gonna use it. I think I dubbed this phrase, so y'all don't be trying to take my stuff now. But you always hear, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You always hear it all, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That is true after you've already put all your eggs in one basket. See what I'm saying? That is true. That is absolutely true. But that's after you've already put all your eggs in one basket. That's after you've made the decision that I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this. Now, in that field, the world can open up. You know what I'm saying? One of my very good friends, super successful right now. I ain't gonna mention his name only because he's successful and I don't want to air him out, on some success stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's really successful right now. He went to college. After he graduated college, he said, "I'm doing music full time." As a
Mm.
producer, he was more of a producer, behind the scenes kind of guy. Was never an artist, was more of a producer, behind the scenes kind of guy. But went on tours. I used to see him come on tour in Sacramento. For a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the cats, a lot of the LA, the Elementos and Murs and Living Legends, that's the name of their coalition, right? He used to go on a
Mm-hmm.
lot of tours with them,
Mm-hmm.
do his thing. He would come to Sacramento. We would go to the shows. He'd have the albums. A lot of times I would get sneak peek stuff. This was back in
Mm-hmm.
the day. This was way before the Twitters they held. This is even before Napster, when Napster wasn't really popular yet, when you actually had to get the stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
he would send me packages of like all the brand new, like the first time I heard like Eminem was through a package that he sent me, and it was the I Don't Give a F song, Eminem, and I'm like, who the heck is this cat? And there wasn't no thing. And then I listened, and you figured out he was white, and was like, oh my God, this kid's going crazy. Like that's the first time I heard that he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as a result of him doing that, he realized, okay, this is great, but I just kind of want more mobility, but I want to be in this field. So
Mm-hmm.
then he went and he got his law degree. Guess what? He got his law degree in entertainment, music and entertainment. So then he now still doing his thing. He can still do all the other stuff, get down grimy with the cats, but now he has the legal standpoint. So now when he's going to work for companies, even though he's in the corporate realm, got back to what Lisa said when, hey, go to business school. You don't go to business school to learn business. You go to business so your art can be better, so that your art can be profitable. The business is going to enhance your art. The art isn't going to enhance you. The business enhances the art. It helps you be a better artist because now you have these things in place and now you've put yourself in a position to be the artist. So if you're going to go work corporate, okay, I'm working in this field. Now I'm doing this,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
so all the things where he ends up now, like I said, he went on to do even bigger stuff. He lives in New York now. He's doing enormous stuff right now.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is he put all of his eggs in one basket,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Now that journey, take that journey.
Right.
But you can't, it has not happened. Again, me and Lisa talk about this all the time, and I tell her all the time. I used to tell her this then, and I tell her all the time. And there are benefits. Everything happens for a reason. I'm not even questioning the purpose no more. But you talk about decisions. I made a very bad one staying where we were. And I've told
Mm-hmm.
the story. I told the
Yep.
story on the other episodes, how Danielle hit me, and I was like, there, because in that, knowing what I know now, the opportunities of where I would be now, I wouldn't even probably be in front of the camera no more now. I
Mm-hmm.
would probably still be in front of the camera every now and again by my choosing, but I'd be completely probably doing something else by now. Like
Yeah.
that's what I mean. But it would be completely in that world. Now you're steadily getting fed every day. When you wake up and you got to go to work, you're going to work to do exactly what you love to do.
Yeah.
How rewarding is that?
Mm.
Then
Mm.
what version of yourself are you going to be now that you're in that space? You won't
Mm-hmm.
allow any of the other stuff to happen. Because I
Mm.
ain't allowing y'all to mess up my, hey, what did Kendrick say? B don't kill my vibe. B don't
Right.
kill my vibe. Like you ain't about to be over here I got something cool going.
Right.
My
Absolutely.
life is going.
Absolutely.
Everybody got to go to work. Everybody got to eat. I get a chance to go over to work. Man, if I sit there in 15 minutes, okay, 15 minutes, boom. Then I get up and get a workout in. Okay, boom. I get my workout in. I get my shower in. I get my meal in. Okay, boom. Now I'm really set up for the day. And now my first task is music.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the version of me every time you call me that you'll get. Anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Doesn't mean there aren't going to be challenges. It doesn't mean anything else. If anything, what you're doing is you're prepare yourself to deal with the challenges better because you're a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's the most powerful advice I could give. Be yourself. That
Yeah.
is where the gold lies. People say what they want about people like Kevin Hart or wherever, whether you're a fan or not. What
Yeah.
he did was he put all of his eggs in that basket.
You
There
did.
was no Now, in that, yeah, you got to learn to hustle. Don't get it
Right.
twisted,
Right.
right? There's got to be a hustle about it.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. But that's you being you.
You.
Be yourself. everybody else has ever taken. I'm gonna leave this with this because you said the industry, because that's the first place I went to. I
Right.
just went another way because you already did the industry, but I'm gonna touch back on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's because I knew that's the first place you would go because we operate the same frequency when it comes to that. That's all
Yeah.
that's what we've heard the whole time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know how many times I've heard, oh man, that's hard, but man, it depends on who's listening. So
Right.
now think about this as an artist, especially people like us that are super talented. We write, we're really she's one of the best singers on planet Earth. You just
Mhm.
haven't heard of her yet.
Thank
But she can
you.
sing with anybody.
Yeah.
Who's one of the best rappers and lyricists and writers and stuff that you know?
Aunt Wheezy.
There you go. Right? So you're talking to people who occupy this space with the legends.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with that said, now imagine this is with us with strong conviction still having to think about this. So now imagine the person who doesn't have the strong conviction the way we do, or aren't as seasoned in their confidence in their craft the way we are. Now
Right.
you got people, and this is what happens a lot of times with artists. Now you got people, because it depends on who's listening. If I'm in Sacramento and I play something, somebody might be like, hey man, you see to sound more like Keith the Sneak or E40 or something like that. I need more stuff like this. If I listen from down here, they might be like, oh man, you need to sound more like Ice Cube, or you know what I'm saying? You might need to sound more like Warren G or Snoop, X,
Shut
Y, and Z.
up. That's
It,
what
it,
I say to
you
them.
feel what I'm saying? If somebody if
Yes.
somebody from New York listens to it, oh man, I want to hit you more over these beats. Somebody from Chicago, oh man, I want you to hear more like Kanye. Somebody from the South, yeah, I want you to give me more, Ti stuff. Now look at all these different people I gotta be.
Yeah. But yourself.
Everyone, and guess everybody, you notice how I name names as references? Guess what? They're already taken. You know who one of my
Boom.
everybody, they're already taken. Everybody I named. You need to sound more like this person. That person already sounds like that.
Right.
They're already taken.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
One of the biggest things that I get, which is an absolute compliment, it's a super compliment because he is one of my favorites of all. I bless the compliment.
Mm-hmm.
The people that every time they hear my music, they hear me rapping, first thing they come up, who do I sound like?
Busta Rhymes.
Busta
Renee and
Rhymes.
Ant, one of the two.
Every
Yeah.
single time. One
Mm-hmm.
of my favorite artists of all time. I like Busta when I see him in interviews. He seems like a cat I grew up with and roll with. Like straight up. Music is one of the best lyrics. That's one of my dream features. I
Mm-hmm.
want to do a song with Busta Rhymes, lightweight, called Busta Rhymes. We can get on some Busta Rhymes. Like, right? Like type stuff. Love
Mm-hmm.
it. It's an
Mm-hmm.
absolute compliment. But
Right.
he is taken. And when you listen, I don't think I sound like him. Now I understand
Mm-hmm.
why people say it because everybody says it. And I
Everybody
can
wants to put you in
understand
a
the way
box.
saying the way he attacks the mic and kills
Yeah.
him. I attack and kill him. I get the inflections, the spiritness, the passion behind it. I get it all.
Yeah.
I am completely Anthony Charles. I am Aunt Wheezy,
Good.
completely. And it don't take long to realize that. I don't, it's other than the first thing, it's like, yeah, no, you're completely that's one of the biggest compliments. Anytime somebody hear my music, you know why I like your stuff? It's different. Yeah, cool.
For you.
That's a good launching point. Different might not always be good to you.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we could start your listening journey as far as when it comes to me. I'm glad we can start it different. I'm cool with that. I
Yep.
hope it leads you to some great stuff like, oh my God, you're one of the best ever. But even if it led you to, I like it, that's cool, but I'm not really, even if it led you to that, we at least started at different. You know
Absolutely.
why? Because everybody else is taken.
That part.
That part.
It's so deep.
So that is one of the ones. You see, we were both very passionate about that. It's
Very.
for a reason. And that's one of the ones. This is for everybody, but especially for artists because we need this more than ever. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to leave this on this. I'm sorry, just real quick, because one of my guy that I'm just talking about, the successful one, sent me something last night, right? And it was it was like in 1993. This is how the world was. So it gives like the Instagram post gives like what was happening in the world. Clinton was president. The World Trade Center got bombed. These
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things happen. But the rest of the slides were just about music. And
Mm-hmm.
all the slides it was Outcast, you know what I'm saying? I can't even remember all the slides. It was Outcast, Wu-Tang. There was a West Coast group in there. There was like five or six. I'm mad that I'm missing it. There was De La Soul. I should pull it up, but I ain't gonna do all that time to just say who the groups were. But my point is, I left
Right.
him a voice message, a voice thing like me and you do. I sent
Mhm.
him a voice thing back because I couldn't text it because it took me so many places.
Yeah.
But my point was, is I named all these groups, all this stuff that was going on at the time. You
Hmm.
know, all the Naughty by Nature, Cube, E40, like all this stuff. Like I'm just tip of the iceberg. You know,
Yeah.
Nas, I think Illmatic was, I think Ain't Hard to Tell came out, all these kinds of things. I sent him a voice thing, and the way I concluded it, I'm naming all these people, and I said, and listen, I said, you know the thing about it was, this is why if you talk to somebody and they're like, why do people like you refer to this as the golden era of hip hop? And that doesn't mean there isn't great eras. Don't get it twisted. And even in today, like what Lisa talks about, the way a lot of the stuff, you can find you a good groove even in today's world. Don't get it twisted.
Hmm.
But the reason why is because a lot of us nostalgic people, it's because every single person I named, all those people were completely different. And I named like 20 people. I named like 25 people, and they were all different. Not one person sounds like the other. In
Yep.
fact, it was the goal to be as different sounding as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, you came with that? Oh, I can't wait to come with this. You know what I'm saying? When Q-Tip was in the lab cooking up Midnight Marauders, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He's competing with Doggy Style. Doggy Style got to come out.
Yep.
Right? So Doggy Style comes out, Lethal Injection comes out by Ice Cube, and Midnight Marauders drops. Look at how three differently those all three of them projects. And Snoop and Cube are from down here, and those projects are still completely
Yeah.
different. Then you throw in Tribe Called Quest. I'm just using this as an example. Tribe wasn't gonna go to the lab and say, okay, I need to sound more like, although there
Right.
was West Coast pressure at the time because the West Coast was big, right?
Right.
We were just
Right.
emerging in a way that
Right.
capitalism. We brought a certain capitalism to the game, right?
Mhm.
But Q-Tip wasn't going to the lab saying, I need to, nah. Okay, let me double down on this.
Yeah.
And delivers his own classic. Him, Fife, and Ali, they delivered their own classic. Midnight Marauders is one of my favorite. Lisa, you've heard me play it for
Yeah.
years
Yep. Yep.
in the midst of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, okay, let's go copy that. It was like, oh, no, you're coming. Okay, let me show you how we do it over here, man. Boom, boom, boom. That's the difference. So if you ever hear somebody talk about the golden era, it's really a reflection of the quote that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Be you, everyone else is taken. And I liked it when everybody was celebrating that different,
Yeah.
hey, bring this in. And not to say it doesn't happen today. There's a lot of people that are different doing some crazy stuff that is awesome. But I'm
Right.
saying there's also that copycat factor that's always existed. It existed in the golden era too, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody was coming to me telling me I needed to sound like Wu-Tang. Somebody else was coming to me telling me I needed to sound like Above the Law.
Hmm.
I got all the stuff, people I love, groups I love, but I'm like, damn, I would kind of rather sound like myself.
Absolutely.
I like this slot. Let me see what this gives you as opposed to me trying to sound like someone.
Hmm.
So this quote is very powerful. We need to manifest in that because in
Yeah.
that, guess what? It allows you to appreciate people in a whole different way. And now the whole interaction, when you do the whole frequency is different,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
boom.
Absolutely, guys. Listen, thank you so much for continuing to watch us week after week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It makes the algorithm continue to find
Please.
more people that like our show. Don't forget to pick up Coffee, Tea, or Me. It is streaming on all
Boom.
platforms, as well as pick up your tickets to our show. Buckle your seatbelts. We will
Buckle 'em.
see you guys next Wednesday at 9 a.m. That
Friday.
means to you
Friday.
by Friday. Bye, guys.